This world ends in a sea of bodies and broken ruins, the last defenders completely overwhelmed. Our boy, a lone mage, kneels in exhaustion as the final city is about to fall. He cannot understand how a simple game turned into this absolute nightmare for humanity. All around him, his comrades are dead with absolutely no hope of escape. But even as the last warrior standing, he gets back on his feet for one final fight. Because he is facing a literal god of death and humanity's chances are basically zero. Still, he powers up his staff, deciding if he is going down, he is going down swinging, and unleashes every last bit of power he has left in a final desperate blaze, staking his entire life on a single attack against an impossibly huge enemy, which of course gets him completely vaporized while he screams in total denial. And then he wakes up, screaming his lungs out at his desk in the real world. He is suddenly in a classroom during an exam and everyone's staring at him awkward. His teacher immediately starts laying into him for being a loud, failing student, but our guy is just stunned, slowly processing the fact that he is actually alive. He's been sent back 10 years to the exact day the Apocalypse game beta began. Then he feels something in his pocket, a familiar, impossible object. Realizing his Apocalypse ring, the key to the game, somehow came back with him. Meanwhile, the teacher is still screaming in his face, calling him worthless trash. Our boy just looks at him with cold, dead eyes and says a single word. Then he grabs the guy, remembering this teacher as a future traitor who sold out students. Sumu just walks out, telling the teacher he has got a game to play, leaving the guy absolutely fuming. His classmates, meanwhile, think he is the coolest guy alive for ditching the exam for a video game. See, in this timeline, Apocalypse is just a massively popular VR game that has taken over the globe. It is so big you can trade in-game items for actual mansions and sports cars. Even entire countries are using it to conduct international business, totally normal, nothing to see here. For some, it is a ticket to overnight riches, while for others, it is a one-way trip to ruin. Walking through the city, Sumu is surrounded by ads for the game he knows will destroy everything. Because he remembers the day it all stopped being a game and became a literal hell on Earth. Humanity threw everything they had at the monsters, a full-scale war for survival. And while they had their own powerful players, they were nothing compared to the game's actual gods. In the end, all their hope and firepower just got completely erased in a flash. Back in the present, Sumu sighs, accepting this second chance to rewrite that horrific future. He looks out at the peaceful world, vowing to protect the light of humanity this time around. Arriving home, he walks into an empty apartment, a stark reminder of what he lost. A note on the table reveals his parents are away on an exploration team, which sounds incredibly ominous. Clutching their letter, his resolve hardens. He swears he will not let them die again. Lying in his room, he checks the time, 11 a.m., 1 hour before the beta officially starts. With the Apocalypse ring already in his possession, he has a crucial head start to change fate. He desperately twists the ring on his finger, praying it will work just like it did before. And just like that, it erupts in a brilliant blue light, confirming his path has begun. His digital self literally phases out of his body, absolutely thrilled that it actually worked. And in a sea of glowing blue code, Sumu reintroduces himself to the world he is here to save. Before swan diving into the system, officially kicking off his second Apocalypse journey, he is immediately greeted by a wise old NPC who welcomes him to the Azure Dragon server, and this new player guide lays it on thick, telling him the future is in his hands, no pressure. Sumu is then presented with 5 classic RPG professions to choose from for his new start, and he immediately picks Warlock, determined to avoid the money-burning mage class of his past life. Except the game hits him with a big fat command error, refusing to let him change classes. So the guide, looking entirely unconcerned, just tells him to check his attribute panel. He opens it and has a chibai meltdown. He is already a level 4 mage with his old account. Our boy starts raging about how expensive mages are while the guide just tries to rush him along. But Sumu's not done complaining, now demanding to know where his equipment and supplies are. Only to find his inventory is a barren wasteland of nothing, a truly useless rebirth. Wait, hold on, there is one single item in there, a creepy-looking skeletal hand bone. He pulls up the item details, wondering what the hell a Grim Reaper's handbone is, and its description is just some edgy quote about the abyss gazing back at you, real helpful. This stats page confirms it is completely useless with an inactive attribute, so it is basically vendor trash. But just as he is despairing, the system announces he is the very first player to log in, teleporting him to the novice village with a free mage set and the unique title Fastest Man. Sumu is immediately deeply offended by this title, which sounds way less cool than intended. But after seeing the unique stats, Sumu decides he can live with the name, those bonuses are sweet. He immediately finds the perfect victims for his grand return, a pack of low-level boars. And with all the confidence of a former god-tier player, he unleashes a mighty fireball, which hits for a whopping 12 damage, a brutal reminder that he is back to square one. Now the angry boars are chasing him while he tries to explain that he is a big deal, believe him, and his frantic escape through the woods shows his Fastest Man title is already getting a workout. Just then, a classic damsel in distress cry for help echoes through the forest, revealing a woman being chased by a gigantic wild boar king, a slightly bigger problem. This triggers the game's first hidden quest right in front of him, a heroic rescue mission, and Sumu is absolutely giddy, thinking his protagonist luck has officially kicked in. He plays the part of the charming hero, opening his arms to catch the fleeing maiden, only to sidestep her at the last second, using her as perfect bait for the monster behind her. In a tense standoff, she is now stuck between a smug-looking Sumu and a very angry boar. She tries to play the victim, asking why he'd do that after she was just innocently picking mushrooms. But her act falters when she realizes he seems to know something he absolutely should not. Sumu then starts listing off her entire secret history, calling out every scam she has ever pulled, which makes her drop the act completely, revealing strange red markings as she gets furious. With a sinister grin, she admits he knows far too much for his own good, revealing her true identity as a monster designed to prey on new players, the enchanted Zio Hua. But Sumu just smiles because he is armed with the knowledge from every single player she killed in his last life. She lunges at him, claws out and ready to kill, but Sumu looks completely unimpressed, and instead of fighting, he just shoves the giant boar right at her. What a gentleman. Which suddenly puts her on the receiving end of a very angry tusk to the face. This boar king is absolutely furious, crackling with lightning and ready to turn her into paste, and with a massive crash it slams right into her, sending the monster girl flying. She gets absolutely launched through the air, taking a huge hit from the impact. With the boar gone, she turns her rage on Sumu, who is already making a tactical retreat. But he suddenly stops and points at her, yelling that her big secret is exposed. He then unleashes a basic fireball, which seems like a pretty underwhelming move right now, and it connects for a measly 36 damage, barely scratching the enraged Zio Hua. She is screaming bloody murder, but Sumu's just standing there whistling, totally unbothered, easily dodging her lunge while landing another tiny fireball for 30 more damage. This turns into a ridiculous chase scene, with Sumu kiting her through the forest with pathetic fireballs. Because he remembers a key weakness, she is bound to this forest by magical pollution. His plan is simple: lead her right to the edge of the woods for the final trap, and standing just outside the tree line, he smugly dares her to come and get him. She threatens to tear him apart, and Sumu's sarcastic reply is just dripping with contempt. But as she reaches for him, her hand hits an invisible wall, stopping her dead in her tracks. This monster is completely paralyzed, unable to leave the forest, and Sumu just smirks at her confusion. Deciding now that she is helpless, he will finally stop holding back and unleash a real spell. He calls down a literal meteor shower on the trapped monster girl. Talk about overkill. With a final cry, Zio Hua collapses, defeated, as the system floods Sumu with rewards. This quest completion bonus is insane, rocketing him straight to level 2 with a fat stack of gold. Crouching over her body, he is already thinking about what kind of loot this boss will drop. But then he spots something in his inventory. That useless skeleton hand has an upgrade arrow. This Grim Reaper's handbone is now glowing with a sinister purple aura, having leveled up with him. Its item description is still the same edgy nonsense, and the main attribute remains stubbornly inactive. Sumu has no memory of this item from his past life, but admits the name is pretty metal. Then he sees the activation requirements and has a full-on meltdown. The material grind is just absurd. Deciding to put that on the back burner, he turns to the now-revived Zio Hua to continue the grind. She is back to her damsel act, thanking him for saving her and handing over some sweet loot. Inside his head, though, Sumu is just congratulating himself for baiting her demonic aura to trigger the quest. He scores a purple-grade fire staff, absolutely thrilled that his little scheme paid off so well. Zio Hua then asks for an escort back to her village, kicking off yet another main quest for him. So he gives her a piggyback ride, drooling over the familiar feeling. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen. They finally leave the forest behind, making their way toward the safety of King Yu village. Arriving at the town, his little piggyback stunt is definitely turning some heads, not all of them friendly. She happily calls out for her grandpa, waving from Sumu's back like she owns the place. An old man, the village chief, steps out, looking incredibly relieved to see his granddaughter is safe. After a heartfelt reunion, Sumu gets his quest reward, officially completing his first heroic deed. This village chief tries to give a whole speech, but Sumu cuts him off, demanding the next quest immediately. His inner thoughts explain that this old guy will talk your ear off with nonsense if you let him. Ain't nobody got time for that. So the chief says Zio Hua needs a zombie blood cleanse for her demonic aura, and Sumu just accepts without question. With the blood of the undead mission accepted, he gets a cheery farewell from the village NPCs. Before heading out to grind, Sumu decides a well-prepared mage needs to visit the local alchemist first. He approaches the alchemy shop, a knowing look on his face that suggests he has been here before. Inside, a very curvy alchemist welcomes him, and Sumu gets an immediate sense of dangerous familiarity. He tries to buy a boatload of mana potions, once again lamenting the fact that mages are just money pits. This alchemist gets way too close for comfort, offering him a special discount if he makes her happy. And our boy absolutely panics, rejecting her offer with the most hilariously uncomfortable face I have ever seen. He bolts from the shop while she calls him a boring brat, deciding he is just not equipped to deal with her. His muttering gets him in trouble again as a massive blacksmith overhears him and demands to know who he is talking about. Sumu immediately switches to sucking up, buying an identification scroll and wishing the guy 100 years of happiness. Finding a quiet corner, he explains that identifying purple gear in this game is a bigger gamble than real-life casinos. He needs to use his future knowledge now, before merchants start monopolizing all the good unidentified loot. Pinning his hopes on the blacksmith's 10 years of being single for good luck, he uses the scroll and it works. This staff is identified as the Heavenly Fire Staff with a killer magic burst effect, a massive early game win. Feeling on top of the world with his new weapon, Sumu confidently leaves the village to go farm some undead. Upon reaching the zombie area, he immediately unleashes a massive meteor shower on the unsuspecting mobs. This staff's rare special effect triggers on the very first cast, and he is just basking in his good fortune. Sumu's feeling pretty good, having already farmed a key upgrade material before the server even officially opens. And as the clock strikes 12, players all over the world start logging in for the grand opening, which instantly turns the novice village into a chaotic mess of newbies dying and complaining. While world chat explodes with players who cannot find a single zombie, but Sumu just watches, amused. He calmly lays out his massive haul from his private farming session, knowing the mobs respawn on a timer. In full Chibai mode, Sumu calculates his hourly wage and decides to hide his level to stay low-key, a humble genius. He then sets up a stall with a banner promising honest dealings, ready to become the server's first tycoon. A couple of randoms immediately start mocking him for trying to sell stuff instead of grinding like a normal person. But Sumu just scoffs, knowing these chumps could not even handle a zombie with a full party, let alone get loot. His train of thought is interrupted when a pair of very elegant heels stops right in front of his stall, and looking up, he is greeted by the sight of some seriously impressive legs belonging to his first customer. This woman is turning every head in the village, clearly someone important and not just another random player. Sumu's eyes go wide in shock. He instantly recognizes her id and cannot believe his luck. Turns out she is one of the future top 10 players in the country, basically a celebrity in the making. Our boy immediately gets some weird ideas, thinking this goddess is cute and maybe he can nurture her. Yikes. She is drawn in by his cocky banner and approaches, curious to see what kind of junk he is peddling. Her jaw drops when she sees his inventory is stacked with gear and quest items just minutes after launch. So he lays out the prices for his whole stock, offering her a special bulk price that is still insanely high. She calls him out for his terrible discount, so he offers another way to lower the price with a very greasy smile. And then he asks to touch her legs for a 20% discount, his face twisting into a mask of pure cringe. She is absolutely mortified by his offer, yelling at him to cut out the shameless nonsense. But Sumu just shrugs it off, saying it is a limited time deal and she is the one missing out. Internally, she is fuming, knowing he is a creep but also that her guild desperately needs his gear. She decides to just throw money at the problem, offering a flat 100,000 for his entire stock. At that exact moment, a whole squad of burly players stomps over, led by a guy Sumu instantly recognizes. A flashback reveals this is the Crazy War God, a notorious guild leader known for stealing bosses and peeking everyone. This guy apparently killed Sumu multiple times in his past life, looting his gear and setting him way back. Back in the present, the big oaf interrupts their deal, declaring that the highest bidder takes all. He immediately throws down 150k, but she fires right back with a 200k offer to shut him up. Sumu just sits back and enjoys the show, realizing these top guilds will pay anything for an early advantage. Tingzu Wan knows she absolutely cannot let her rival get this gear, or her guild will fall behind. In a moment of pure desperation, she agrees to his original creepy offer not once but 10 times over. Sumu immediately tells Crazy War God to get lost, saying he is only doing business with the pretty lady now. This guild leader absolutely loses it, threatening Sumu while his goons hold him back inside the safe zone. He is seething with rage, promising to make Sumu regret this the second he steps outside the village. With that lovely threat hanging in the air, Sumu just calmly contemplates his next move. This transaction goes through, and while Sumu looks thrilled, she is calling him a shameless scumbag. He then tells her not to worry, promising there'll be a next time and he will get his discount then. And as she walks away, she thinks that even though he is a total lech, there is something else going on. He clarifies the final deal, 120k for the goods, and says he will take her to the quest area obviously. Sumu gets right in her face, asking if she is ready to pay up on that leg-touching promise, and leaning in closer, he calls her out for trying to back out of their very weird deal. His smug little smirk shows he is enjoying every single second of her flustered silence. But then he just laughs it off, saying he will take the loss and framing it as a favor to her. As he walks off, Tingzu Wan decides this despicable guy might actually be worth helping in the future. Back in the village, Sumu turns in the quest, desperately trying to stop the chief from giving another speech. This reward levels him up to 4, and he immediately accepts a new mission to hunt some enchanted mummies. In full Chibai mode, our boy is absolutely gloating about leaving all the other players in the dust. He happily skips off to the next grind spot, feeling like he is practically cheating at this point. A sudden realization hits him like a truck. He forgot something incredibly important back in town. He almost missed out on a secret deal with the village chief, a classic min-maxer oversight. A quick flashback reveals a choice: give a hairpin to Zio Hua for rep or give it to the chief for a hidden reward. Choosing the chief nets him a permanent buff, the village chief's blessing, which is a massive early game boost. He then cheekily asks for the buff himself while other players fake injuries for attention. What a guy. Entering the demon swamp, he is hit with a nasty debuff that drains health and blocks potions. But his new blessing provides constant health regen, completely negating the swamp's deadly effect. Peering into the creepy woods, he hears the distinct sounds of trouble approaching fast, and a couple of other players come sprinting out, screaming that monsters are right behind them. This girl gets snagged by mummy bandages, completely trapped and crying out for help, while her partner just abandons her without a second thought, running for his life. Chivalry is truly dead. Sumu just stands there as the cowardly dude tries to use him as a meat shield, a classic move, and Karma strikes instantly with a mummy bandage skewering the guy right through the chest. This culprit is a level 5 enchanted mummy, a ranged attacker that literally flings its own bandages. Our boy calmly assesses the situation, realizing these things are specifically designed to be newbie killers. With his new staff in hand, he figures their slow speed is the key to winning this fight. He starts blasting away with fireballs, kiting the mob and talking some serious trash. His spells connect and he is just effortlessly dancing around their attacks while farming them down. Before long, he's got an entire horde of angry mummies chasing him through the swamp. A smug grin reveals he has a plan, remembering a special patch of deadwood forest nearby. He successfully baits the entire mob into the trap zone, confirming they fell for it hook, line, and sinker. From across a clearing, he taunts them with more fireballs, goading them into attacking. This, of course, makes the mummies absolutely lose their minds with rage, screeching at him. They all unleash a massive volley of bandage attacks, trying to snag him from a distance. Sumu effortlessly dodges through the storm of bandages like he has done this 1,000 times before. He even has time for a little internal monologue about how experienced he is. What a show-off. Then, at the perfect moment, he grabs a handful of the bandages, his trap springing shut. He quickly ties the bandages he caught to the surrounding dead trees, creating a web of anchors. Using their own attacks, he slingshots himself right over their heads to the other side. His brilliant maneuver leaves the entire mummy mob tangled in their own wrappings, completely helpless. Now he is ready to drop a massive fireball on the trapped horde, mocking how easily he handled it. A server-wide announcement pops up. The blacksmith is so mad about newbies harassing the alchemist he has issued a bounty. And in full chibai mode, Sumu declares all other men are trash and this quest was basically made for him. His master plan is simple: finish grinding on these mummies, then go hunt down 100 thirsty players for the reward. With that, he unleashes a massive meteor shower on the helplessly tangled mummy horde below, which absolutely obliterates them, and the loot notifications start rolling in, even dropping a skill book. This drop is a warrior skill he cannot even use, but hey, it'll still fetch a pretty penny on the market. From a distance, he spots some unlucky players in the area, deciding it is time to multitask his grinding. Meanwhile, World Chat is an absolute dumpster fire of newbies complaining about the swamp and getting randomly one-shot. And look who it is, Crazy War God and his guild, posturing like heroes here to save all the struggling noobs. He rallies his troops with some truly cringeworthy battle cries, leading the whole Zerg rush into the swamp. His own guildies are totally drinking the Kool-Aid, gushing over his charisma and expensive-looking buffs. Internally, though, he is just thinking about how he is going to steamroll all the paupers in his way. This big man spots a single, solitary mummy and orders a full-scale guild assault. Talk about overkill. But just as they charge, a random fireball flies out of nowhere and completely poaches his kill. Crazy War God is completely stunned, trying to figure out which top-tier mage could possibly be out here already. Before he can process it, his guildmates start screaming warnings as more fire rains down on them. It is not just a fireball, it is a full-blown meteor shower, and his entire guild is caught in the blast zone. His whole squad is getting absolutely cooked, screaming for help as they are pelted with explosions. This carnage is glorious, with players getting vaporized left and right while screaming about being PK'd. And the system confirms it. Crazy War God is dead and Sumu's bounty progress just shot up. Sweet, sweet revenge. Sumu casually watches the swamp burn, wondering why people keep volunteering to die on his fireballs. He checks out his new level 5 skill, a massive AF freeze that is just perfect for farming idiots. Taking a quick break, he tallies his loot, over 100 gear pieces and a dozen skill books. Not a bad start. His first thought is to message Tingzu Wan, getting all creepy about how good loot reminds him of good girls. Stretching out, he just hopes another clueless guild stumbles in so he can finish his player hunting quest. Among the drops is a sweet blue quality mage skill, Wind Shadow, for a nice little speed boost. He immediately learns the new skill, getting a system notification for his trouble. Efficiency is key. With his eyes glowing, he sets his next goal, hit level 6, then go claim the server's first boss kill. Meanwhile, in another part of the swamp, a different kind of drama is just getting started. A new party of 4 is grinding on mummies, featuring 3 dudes and 1 woman named Fish Eye. After getting her quest items, Fish Eye announces she has had enough and is leaving the party. But her 3 teammates immediately swarm her, laying on the guilt trip to get her to stay. They get real weird real fast, demanding she smile for them, and she is visibly disgusted by it all. Internally, she thinks all men are shallow and gross, except for the silhouette of one particular guy. 2 of the guys then try to recruit her for their guild, offering a vice leader spot to basically be their mascot. She is completely over their nonsense, powering up a spell and telling them to shut their mouths. Without a second of hesitation, she zaps one of the creeps, who takes a surprising chunk of damage. This guy is totally bewildered, wondering how she can even hurt him while they are still in a party. She scoffs at his incompetence, realizing he is one of the thirsty players from the Apothecary bounty quest. Deciding she has wasted enough time, she walks off, determined to level up and find Sumu again. She is already wondering if she will ever find Sumu again in this massive game. Meanwhile, her former teammates prove her right, calling her a decorative piece for their boss. Their leader, Death Song, is convinced she's just playing hard to get, a true visionary. Elsewhere, Crazy War God is burning cash on World Chat trying to taunt Sumu out of hiding. His guildies are all crying foul, claiming Sumu just randomly murdered them for no reason at all. He then starts yelling at some random woman, telling her to go find Sumu herself if she is so tough. Of course, it is Ting Zhu Wan and her squad who calmly tell him all his noise is useless. Crazy War God is seething, realizing Sumu's massacre set them way behind her in levels. She's not even worried, focused on the gear Sumu sent and ready to swat these flies first. This just makes the big guy throw a bigger fit, screaming about Sumu hiding behind women. And right on cue, Sumu replies in World Chat asking which wise guy is looking for their grandpa. Our boy strolls out of the mist, greeting his good grandson with maximum disrespect. Crazy War God immediately starts pointing and screaming, promising Sumu is about to die. Sumu's response is to just casually check his stats, completely unbothered by the mob. His enemies, however, are absolutely losing it, spotting his insane gear and that village chief's blessing. Crazy War God is just stunned silent, finally understanding he is not in the same league. Sumu just smirks, asking his grandson what his brilliant next move is going to be. Despite being terrified, Crazy War God tells himself he absolutely cannot back down now. He tries to frame it as justice, saying Sumu killed them so they get to kill him back. And with a truly unhinged smile, he decides numbers are on his side, a classic tactical error. Sumu just scoffs, explaining he is not killing randomly, they are just wanted criminals for harassing alchemists. This revelation makes Crazy War God lose all face as Ting Zhu Wan and her friend agree he had it coming. Completely humiliated, the big guy charges in with his hammer, demanding a real fight. And Ting Zhu Wan offers to help, but Sumu tells her to save the favor for later. He then tells her whole squad to clear out because he is about to get to work. This entire guild surrounds him in group combat mode, but Sumu knows numbers are not everything. Deciding to stay and watch, Ting Zhu Wan wonders if he is just arrogant or actually has the skills to back it up. Sumu switches to his own group attack mode, calling them a minor drain on his mana. What a flex. He floats into the air, unleashing a multi-shot fireball barrage that has Crazy War God screaming for a shield wall. Their warriors manage to block the initial volley, prompting their leader to yell for ranged support. But Sumu is already a blur, activating his Wind Shadow skill to effortlessly dodge their counterattack. Zipping around the battlefield, he internally mocks them for blowing all their cooldowns at once like total amateurs. His enemies cannot even track his movements, leaving Sumu to decide it is time to test his new ice skill. With a chilling smile, he begins casting that massive AF freeze he picked up earlier. A giant vortex of ice magic descends upon the completely clueless guild below, and the entire party is instantly flash-frozen in jagged shards of ice, screaming in shock. Their healers are useless and their defensive skills are on cooldown, leaving them completely trapped. Crazy War God actually yells at his last surviving man for instinctively trying to shield himself. Great leadership. Sumu just watches with a smug look, noting their panic wasted their best defense again. His eyes begin to glow with fire as he starts the final countdown to their utter annihilation. Sumu prepares a massive meteor shower to drop on the frozen guild, a little something to warm them up. And Crazy War God can only watch in pure distorted horror as his doom rains down from the sky. This entire battlefield erupts in a storm of fire, completely wiping out the helpless players. His guildies are chugging potions, but the insane damage over time just melts their health bars anyway. With his whole crew dead, Crazy War God finally breaks, turning tail and running for his life. He is having a complete mental breakdown, unable to believe his 30-man elite team just got soloed. In a last-ditch effort, he unleashes a basic warrior slash which Sumu effortlessly sidesteps. Our boy just activates Wind Shadow, creating afterimages and making a complete fool of the guy. Zipping right into his face, Sumu taunts him for being way too slow to even touch him. A point-blank fireball to the face sends the big man stumbling back, his pride completely shattered. Even while getting absolutely cooked, Crazy War God tries to talk tough. It is not very convincing. Sumu suddenly stops, baiting him into thinking he is out of skills and has a chance to fight back. In full Chibai mode, Sumu just tells him to maybe take a peek at his own health bar. A tiny little fire flick is all it takes to drain his last bit of HP, ending the fight with total disrespect. Sumu gives a cute little oopsie wave, pretending he totally did not mean to kill him so fast. His ghost floats away, screaming empty threats about how this beef is definitely not over. Immediately, a crowd of players swarm Sumu, turning into a full-blown fan club on the spot. Even Ting Zhu Wan is left completely stunned, wondering just how powerful this guy actually is. Then a server-wide announcement pops up: Sumu has officially completed the 100-player bounty quest. This news echoes across multiple servers, making Sumu an instant legendary player killer. Across other servers, players are absolutely losing their minds that Sumu beat them to the bounty, and a pro-gamer captain from another server casually analyzes Sumu's profile while eating a snack, admitting this random player just proved his professional team is not the strongest after all. Even on the Azure Dragon server, a powerful mage was just 10 kills away from the prize. And wait a second, she recognizes the name, wondering if it is the same Sumu she knows. Our boy gets a sudden chill, completely unaware he is living rent-free in everyone's head. Speaking of which, he is meeting up with Ting Zhu Wan for another one of their private exchanges, and she is already dreading whatever weird, creepy conditions he is going to attach to this deal. He pulls up his massive loot haul for sale, and she is just stunned by the sheer volume of it. After rounding the price up, he cheekily asks if she wants a discount, while staring at her legs, of course. She immediately shuts that down, knowing exactly what kind of gross discount he is implying. He then dangles a surprise he had planned if she'd played along, and now she is curious, revealing a super rare warlock skill book which he offers for a friendship price. But the friendship price comes with a condition, letting him touch her leg 10 times. What a creep. He just steamrolls past her hesitation, seals the deal, and offers a friendly tip on top of it all. This tip is a prime grinding spot, which he reveals is tied to a hidden quest he needs her help with. She agrees to help for a price, while wondering how he knows secrets even the developers do not. With a confident smile, he extends a hand to finalize their new, very profitable partnership. She realizes that despite his personality, teaming up with this guy is an absolute must for her. Taking his hand, she admits he has got her completely hooked, and her curiosity is only growing. We cut to the real world, where Sumo is chilling in his fancy new gaming pod, money well spent. He reflects on how long it took to afford this in his past life, fully committed to this second chance. Slipping on a ring, he vows to stay ahead of destiny this time as he logs back into the game. Back in the village, a Tree God's Wrath event starts and the entire square erupts in total panic. Sumo, using the alias Mu Shen, calmly tries to tell the screaming newbies it is just a hidden mission. Meanwhile, some shadowy organization is watching his stream, planning to copy his success for their own teams. Two rival gamers mock the attempt, thinking there is no way these randoms can clear a raid-level event. This countdown hits 0 and the Tree God's revenge officially kicks off with a city-wide alarm. Players are absolutely losing it, with some trying to fight and others just logging off in terror. This is new even for Sumo, who does not remember NPCs getting involved in this quest in his past life. Right on cue, the village chief and other powerful NPCs arrive to rally the terrified players. With a classic hero speech, the old man tells them all to fight for the future of the village. He then unleashes a massive AI buff, giving everyone a huge stat boost for the next 30 minutes. Outside the walls, the players brace themselves as a whole forest of angry trees comes stomping their way. A lone warrior faces down the first wave of massive, snarling tree monsters. Talk about a bad day. One player unleashes a huge arcing shot from his rifle, trying to carve a path through the chaos. This battle begins in earnest as mages and warriors desperately try to hold the line against the wooden horde. An archer and a swordsman coordinate their attack on a single tree, which is now glowing with rage. But the trees fight back, grabbing one player who immediately regrets his life choices and his game choices. This whole battlefield is pure chaos, with players and monsters clashing in a desperate fight for survival. This whole village is getting absolutely swarmed by these angry walking trees, and a group of newbies are trapped, their respawn shield ticking down while they blame Sumo for their problems. Other players are just getting spawn-camped into oblivion, screaming for the king of boasting to save them. Meanwhile, players on other servers are watching the livestream, just completely baffled by the chaos. They are all just glad it is not their server, pitying the poor souls getting their levels reset to 1. Even that shadowy organization is taking notes, admitting this event would be a huge challenge for their own pros. One of their agents just stares intently, realizing this is a major development. And then out of nowhere, a massive meteor shower starts raining down on the trees, turning the entire forest of monsters into a raging inferno. Onlookers are losing their minds, thinking someone must be cheating to pull off this level of damage. Before the trees can even recover, a massive ice spell flash freezes one of them solid, and it just shatters into a million tiny pieces. Talk about overkill. This newbies immediately recognize the combo, cheering that their hero Mu Shen has finally arrived. Our boy appears in silhouette, casually saying he was just letting them get some experience first. He then takes a quick swig of a mana potion, getting ready for the main event. Sumo fully reveals himself, asking with a smirk if it is okay for him to show off a bit. With his staff blazing, he dives right into the middle of the monster horde. And their attacks literally do 1 point of damage. He calls it a nice little massage. His new fan club is absolutely ecstatic, finally free from the respawn point and cheering their god-tier savior. Sumo just gives them a look, telling them to stop standing around and get in on the action. Inspired by their new god, the newbies charge forward with renewed vigor, except for one guy who is just confused. This livestream audience is absolutely losing it, with tons of players logging back in to leech off the event. Elsewhere, Tingzu Wan and her crew notice the respawn point is clear, immediately guessing who is responsible. Watching the chaos, her friend complains about her damage output while Tingzu Wan considers their next move. With a determined look, the three of them decide to jump back into the fray to grind some experience. Sumo is already in command mode, rallying the troops and telling the warlocks to start buffing everyone. Players start coordinating, with a warlock casting a spirit shield on a frontline warrior. Teamwork makes the dream work, I guess. Another buff goes out and Sumo looks over, noticing Tingzu Wan has finally joined the party. She makes her grand entrance, telling the other warlocks to fall in line and coordinate with her and Sumo. Under their command, the players unleash a massive, coordinated volley of magical attacks on the treants. This new strategy is actually working, with warriors holding the line and assassins finishing off the weak ones. Back at the shadowy organization, they are watching the stream in disbelief as the novice village turns the tide. This spectators are hyped, realizing Sumo clearing the respawn point was the key to this whole comeback. Meanwhile, a very salty, crazy war god tells his guild to log back in. He is not about to miss out on the loot. With a greedy smirk, he realizes this is the perfect time to swoop in and steal all the experience points. At some high-tech research institute, another group is monitoring the event, initially thinking it is no big deal. A commander orders his subordinate to analyze the data so their own nation can replicate the event's success. His subordinate panics, pointing out their players are way too low-level and that Mu Shen's power is unnatural. This commander just scoffs, declaring his nation has to be the best and that this unexpected event ruined his grinding schedule. Leaning in with a threatening glare, he orders the man to trigger the event immediately or get replaced. Yikes. This newbies are celebrating their win, leveling up and chanting Mu Shen's name like a new cult. But their victory party gets cut short by a weird sound as Sumu senses the real boss is here. From the ground erupts a massive gnarled tree trunk, and it is not here to offer anyone shade. This is the enchanted tree god lord, a level 10 raid boss with stats that make everyone's jaws drop. It lets out a furious roar, its glowing red eyes promising a total party wipe for everyone involved. With one massive sweep, it sends players flying like bowling pins, so much for teamwork. A giant wooden hand comes crashing down on a terrified player who is completely frozen in place. She cannot dodge, but just as she is about to get squashed, a hand covers her eyes, and the tree god's attack gets completely intercepted in a cloud of dust and splinters. Of course it is Sumu, swooping in for a classic hero save while looking effortlessly cool. He sets her down, wondering if the boss is targeting him because his reincarnator status is just that alluring. Meanwhile, everyone else's attacks are hitting for double-digit damage, which is just adorable. These players are losing their minds over its 30k HP and revive skill, realizing they are so screwed. To make matters worse, the tree god lord is backed by a whole army of smaller, equally angry-looking trees. With the mobs respawning, everyone turns to their new god Sumu, begging him for a miracle strategy. Sumu just smirks, telling them to handle the small fry while he solos the big guy, no big deal. This girl he saved tells him to be careful, completely entrusting the entire battlefield to him. On a nearby rooftop, Tingzu Wan steps up, rallying the warlocks and taking command of the stragglers. She starts barking orders, organizing the players into a proper fighting formation to support Sumu. Some blue-haired guy watches her, thinking she is finally showing her true potential by, helping the main character. This tree god lord roars, crackling with a nasty purple aura as it goes into full-on rage mode. And Sumu just casually wonders why this raid boss seems to have a personal vendetta against him, main character problems. He zips between its attacks, knowing its weakness is the heart but that it is also juiced on dark magic. Landing a perfect critical hit that still barely scratches its ridiculously thick hide. While dodging a fresh wave of spikes, he remembers the real problem is the boss's unblockable revive skill. But his plan is simple. As long as he does not get hit, he can totally solo this thing. Deciding to kite the boss away, he yells for Tingzu Wan to manage the rest of the players. And she immediately steps up, ordering a team of warlocks to the respawn point for support. She watches him go, a determined look on her face as she mulls over the trust he just placed in her. But the tree god lord is not just standing around, it is gearing up for another massive attack. A forest of thorny branches erupts from its body, trying to skewer everything in sight, yet Sumu, boosted by multiple speed buffs, just dances through the assault like it is nothing. From high above, he calls down a massive firestorm, telling the overgrown houseplant to burn. And the spell connects perfectly, turning the enraged boss into a giant, screaming bonfire. He follows that up with a meteor shower, pelting the monster with hundreds of points of damage per hit. And just as the flames die down, massive ice spikes erupt from below for a nasty 1-2 punch. Sumu just smirks, offering the boss a complimentary taste of ice and fire. What a generous host. Tingzu Wan checks the boss's health, noting it is already down a third and they can win in 2 minutes. Which gets the rest of the players hyped for a final, glorious charge to claim their rewards. His timing is absolutely perfect, as the ice spell freezes the boss solid, leaving it completely vulnerable. Sumu channels his inner anime protagonist, declaring this next fireball is the grand finale, and he launches the attack, which absolutely obliterates the frozen boss in a fiery explosion. So much for godhood. As the tree god fades into nothing, it has a brief moment of existential dread, realizing it messed up. With the big boss gone, all the little treat minions just crumble into dust, much to everyone's relief. Then a global announcement drops, congratulating Mu Shen for the world's first clear and a fat loot chest. This whole village erupts in cheers, with Tingzu Wan and the others celebrating their massive win and rewards. Out in the real world, a crowd watching the stream goes wild over the 10k gold prize, instant millionaires. Meanwhile, forums are on fire with players from other servers absolutely seething with jealousy over the rewards. Sumu checks his inventory, smirking that he finally has the tree god essence for his next big project. And just to rub it in, a system announcement confirms our boy has hit level 9 from all that exp. He immediately pulls out the Death God's hand bone, ready to see what this creepy artifact can do. Activating it requires a few questionable ingredients, but luckily he has got them all on hand. This activation process starts with a progress bar slowly ticking up from 0%, but a wave of dark energy suddenly paralyzes Sumu, who has no idea what is happening. A strange wind then whips through the battlefield as Tingzu Wan senses this quest is far from over. She gets hit with a new debuff. Death's gaze, which helpfully explains she cannot do anything at all. Everyone else gets the same debuff, freaking out that they are stuck in a game-breaking bug. This whole area is now shrouded in a mysterious mist, with the players still frozen like statues. Inside the fog, they cannot see a thing, but they can definitely see their health bars dropping fast. Tingzu Wan watches her HP drain to 0, realizing she cannot use items and is not even respawning. Well, this is new. Tingzu Wan tries to rationalize the situation, guessing the devs are just scrambling to fix a bug they caused. But her calm cracks when she realizes Sumu is missing, suddenly worried he is in some serious trouble. Meanwhile, Sumu is trapped alone in a dark forest, hit with the same debuff as his artifact activation creeps forward. Out of nowhere, a pair of terrifying red eyes rip open the sky, which is generally not a great sign. Our boy looks up at the ominous presence, the activation bar for his creepy bones slowly ticking up. These glowing red eyes just stare him down, the progress bar now hitting a solid 25%. He immediately recognizes the entity looming over him, realizing it is the actual death god. His brain goes into overdrive, remembering this is the final apocalypse tier boss from the game's hardest dungeon. In a moment of dawning horror, he realizes activating that hand bone has fast-forwarded the end of the world. This pressure mounts as he recognizes a familiar voice. It is the same one he heard right before he died in his past life. From the shadows, the death god fully materializes, looking every bit the part of an endgame nightmare. It just looms over him, and Sumu starts thinking this whole reincarnation gig was a pretty short-lived career move. He is still completely paralyzed and cannot break free, even as the activation bar jumps past 60%. With a face only a mother could love, the death god announces its reign of darkness has officially begun. But instead of an instant game over, the big guy asks Sumu if he wants to live, offering him a chance. This offer is a special quest to become a Death Grand Mage, complete with absolutely broken, maxed-out stats. Sumu is completely floored, wondering why on earth the final boss is trying to give him a job offer. His ego kicks in, cycling through reasons like cheat codes or being too handsome before landing on Protagonist. Then he sees choice number 2, refuse and get deleted, level reset to 0, all items lost, talk about high stakes. He is absolutely agonizing over this, especially since losing his hard-earned legendary armor is on the table. With the activation bar at 90%, Sumu tries to buy time, telling the literal death god he needs to consider the offer. His inner monologue is pure desperation, vowing to hold out for humanity until that progress bar hits 100%. But the final boss is not exactly patient, demanding a choice as the activation bar hits a nail-biting 95%. Finally ready to answer, our boy laments how his whole reincarnation has been one giant mess after another. With a look of pure defiance in his eyes, he prepares to give the most predictable answer ever, and he screams his refusal, officially picking the get deleted and lose everything option on the menu. This cosmic entity is absolutely furious, calling him an ignorant ant for turning down such a generous career opportunity. Our boy just smirks back, retorting that even an ant has ambitions and he is not about to kneel to his mortal enemy. Completely done with the conversation, the death god swings its scythe while Sumu just thinks he will start over. As the scythe comes down, he calmly thinks that in 3 seconds he will be a hero once more. What a plan. Then out of absolutely nowhere, a massive beam of holy light slams down from the sky. And this divine intervention completely blocks the scythe, shattering the attack in a blast of golden light. Sumu is completely stunned, having no idea who just saved his bacon. Death itself, however, knows exactly who this is, screaming the name Michael in absolute fury. This shadowy boss just laughs, asking this Michael if he really thinks he can save our boy. Behind him, a glowing, multi-winged angelic being materializes, leaving Sumu totally bewildered. And there he is in all his glory. Michael, Supreme Commander of the Angels, looking like he just stepped off a JRPG cover. This golden-armored angel tells the death god to go back to hell while winding up a fist full of holy fire. With one punch, he unleashes a massive pillar of light straight into the sky, aimed at the death god's face. As its projection fades, the death god vows to return in its true form, claiming Sumu is cursed and will eventually join him. Sumu is just floored by the sheer power of this angel commander who one-shotted a god's shadow. Which kicks off a quick lesson on game lore. Angels are the good guys, death god is the bad guy, shocking, I know. Our boy is sweating bullets, realizing he accidentally summoned the 2 biggest opposing forces in the entire game. Michael praises his choice to defy the death god, and just like that, Sumu can move again. So he tries for a polite hello, but his creepy bone artifact decides to finish activating right in the angel's face. Instead of smiting him, Michael offers a legendary quest to become a temple mage, which sounds like a promotion. Sumu's jaw hits the floor since that title is basically endgame content for the most elite players. He immediately accepts the trial, and Michael hands over a little parting gift he liberated from the demons. This little gift turns out to be a seriously ominous-looking necklace with a giant eyeball on it, and a quick check reveals it is a damaged evil dragon necklace with 0 stats, so a fixer-upper. With a final blessing for him to get stronger, the angelic commander prepares to take his leave, vanishing in a flash of sparkles after leaving Sumu with a cryptic message about the apocalypse. But Sumu is not thinking about that because he recognizes this necklace is part of a legendary armor set. He is absolutely losing his mind, remembering this set made a player practically invincible in his past life. His brain is already spinning with plans to cleanse it and become unstoppable, but for now he will try not to have a heart attack. With the coast clear, he finally inspects the fully activated Death God's hand bone he nearly died for, which grants him a new skill. Hand of Death, a straight-up 100% damage buff for a full minute. His eyes go wide as he calculates the potential for quadruple damage on crits, plus it is a skill he can level up early. Our boy is so overwhelmed by this windfall that he just breaks down crying. This whole reincarnation thing is finally paying off. Then he checks the upgrade cost and sees it as 5 million X, the game's way of saying get back to grinding, peasant. With the near-death experience over, Sumu finally gets to the good part, opening the tree god's treasure chest. And the haul is massive, with 4 separate rewards floating before him as he starts with the tree god's longing, which immediately summons the glowing green spirit of the boss he just murdered, not exactly standard loot. Turns out the tree god was a good guy and its spirit offers a hidden quest to defeat a godslayer named Apophis. So our boy, never one to turn down a challenge, immediately accepts the insane no-damage run condition. His brain connects the dots, realizing this Apophis is the same target from the trial Michael just gave him. Then we get a sudden, ominous cut to Earth just chilling in the vastness of space, minding its own business. But of course, a swirling vortex of doom is on a collision course with the planet, because of course it is. This thing is packing enough energy to be a certified planet killer, with a small but non-zero chance of impact. And the first invader to arrive post-apocalypse will be none other than the Godslayer Apophis himself. Sumu knows he is only facing a weakened simulation for now, but even that is an extremely difficult challenge. A global announcement then declares some other team got the first kill, which Sumu recognizes as a pay-to-win guild. Shaking that off, he gets back to his own loot, starting with the tree god's actual treasure chest, which unleashes a flood of rewards. We are talking 150,000 gold, gear, and a universal skill book. He is practically vibrating with excitement over the haul, especially the temple prestige and new mage boots. Without a second's hesitation, he learns the universal purple skill, Spiritual Activation, which lets him summon a freaking doppelganger in battle, basically doubling his damage output for 5 minutes. He then geeks out over the temple prestige, knowing it is the key to unlocking hidden quests and cozying up to powerful NPCs. This solo kill chest is even more ridiculous, dropping 300k gold, a guild founding item, and a special title. His new Demon Slayer title is tailor-made for the apocalypse, giving him a massive damage and crit boost against all demons. With a ton of points to spend, Sumu decides to go full glass cannon, dumping everything into his magic attack. And with his new quest in mind, he teleports back to town to get his shiny new loot appraised, where all the other players have finally respawned, freaking out that the bug almost turned them into vegetables. Just then, Sumu pops into the village square, leaving Tingzu Wan and the others completely speechless, and the entire crowd mobs him, offering undying loyalty and in one case to have his monkey's children. Yikes. Embracing his new celebrity status, he rallies everyone to grind levels and conquer the main city together. Meanwhile, in the real world, some military brass from the Wing Kingdom are having a meltdown over losing the first kill, with their leader literally ripping his shirt off in rage, whining that the challenge was just too hard for them. Back in game, Sumu visits the local alchemist, who is being a little too friendly while he calculates potion costs. But she just hands over a huge bag of them for free as thanks for saving the village, a very welcome surprise. He immediately gets to work pouring a purification potion on the creepy eyeball necklace, hoping for legendary stats, and a flash of golden light confirms it worked, making him feel like the luckiest reincarnator alive. With a smug grin, he pulls out a perfect identification card to finally reveal the necklace's true power, practically vibrating as he commands the item to show him its glorious, game-breaking stats. And the reveal does not disappoint. It is a legendary chain with massive elemental boosts and crit chance. A quick look at his character sheet shows he has hit level 10, fully decked out with his new title and gear. Now he is planning to clear the next temple, but first he will make some quick cash by power leveling noobs. Suddenly, the quest begins as a massive pillar of divine energy drills down from the sky onto the boss. And Sumu steels himself, recognizing the god of destruction Apophis has finally arrived, while some other poor player in the woods just sees a giant light show, thinking it is a random meteorite. This boss's arrival is marked by a massive, world-shattering explosion of red energy, which expands into a fiery shockwave that sends players scrambling for their lives. And Sumu calmly notes this is just a nerf simulation. The real deal would have deleted everyone instantly. Down in the village, players are running for their lives as fire engulfs the streets. But just as panic sets in, a powerful foot stomps the ground, ready to intervene. And the village elder finally decides to do his job, summoning a massive torrent of water, unleashing a literal tidal wave that crashes into the inferno with overwhelming force. Other players are just losing their minds, wondering where this powerhouse was when they were getting mauled by trees, and the resulting clash of fire and water fills the air with a massive cloud of steam, which of course leads to everyone immediately sucking up to the chief, begging for a hidden quest. This old man just strokes his beard, pondering whether these freeloaders are worthy of his time. Before giving a grand speech about the apocalypse while casually eating melon seeds, priorities, people. Then a global announcement drops. Apophis is in the ancient wood temple and the dungeon is now open to all. Sumu watches the alert knowing the Godslayer is hunting for ancient items in the ruins, his mind flashing back to his past life, remembering how many things from this game turned out to be horrifyingly real. He recalls Apophyse's future invasion, realizing the game is a training ground for the actual end of the world, and with grim determination he vows to get as strong as possible before his game powers become humanity's last hope. For now, though, he knows this new dungeon cannot be cleared with money alone. It is a real skill check. So he decides to let the other players have their fun, logging off to get some much-needed sleep. With a soft chime, he is back in the real world, standing in the middle of a peaceful, modern city. After a good night's sleep, Sumu stretches and decides to check the forums to watch the noobs suffer. And it is a glorious salt mine. Everyone's crying about the temple being a terrifying maze of bloody walls and zombie corpses, which our boy finds hilarious, smugly telling himself they have no idea how much worse it is gonna get. A quick check on global progress shows his country is in the lead but still stuck. He just calls them his younger brothers. And with his daily dose of schadenfreude consumed, he hops back into his gaming pod to get back to work, logging in at level 9 right in the middle of the village square, ready to continue his speedrun, where Tingzu Wan immediately finds him, shocked he is already caught up to her level. So she tries to recruit him for a temple run, promising she has insider strategies to find the boss. But Sumu immediately sees through it, knowing her strategies are just privileged info from her high-status team. Though she just keeps smiling, trying to look as trustworthy as possible, it is not really working. So he gets a little flirty before laying down his terms. He is not joining, but he will consult for 30% of the loot. And he can tell she is dead serious about recruiting him, even revealing her official backing to sweeten the deal. But our boy just turns his back on her, flatly stating he is not interested in the slightest, leaving Tingzu Wan absolutely speechless, unable to comprehend why anyone would turn her down. And Sumu just tells her to go level up first, because at her level she'd just get flattened in the dungeon anyway. Then he walks off to farm, leaving her to fume about being rejected by this guy who thinks he can solo everything. An hour later, the world chat is on fire with players begging Sumu to stop clearing every monster zone before they get there. So in a moment of pure chaotic good, he starts announcing his farming route so people can get out of his way, which pays off as he dings level 10, unlocking guilds and enhancements while standing over another victim. Now that he has hit the level cap, he makes a beeline straight for the village chief's house. Slamming his hands on the table, Sumu declares his next big move. He is creating a guild, and the village chief is all for it, praising his strength and quoting the startup fee, a casual 300,000 gold, which is basically highway robbery, but the old man just shrugs it off as the price of being a big shot. So with a vow to be his own boss this time, Sumu smashes that create button without a second thought, christening his new powerhouse Fengshan Valley with an epic pose and a promise to save the world. And a server-wide alert immediately pings, catching the attention of a rival team who cannot believe he beat them to it. While elsewhere, another high-ranking player stops in her tracks, clearly intrigued by this sudden development. And yet another guild leader just scoffs, completely underestimating the new competition on the block. Because Sumu's inbox is instantly nuked with over 999 applications to join celebrity status achieved, he smirks at his brand new guild interface, ready to use a special blessing he has been saving, which grants a random 24-hour buff to the whole guild, landing him a nice little boost to stats and dodge chance. Next stop is the blacksmith for some item identification, who is way less friendly than the alchemist. And the new gear is pretty solid, though the boot special effect is basically a 30% speed boost for running away. To complete the set, he puts out a worldwide call for the matching helmet, offering a high price. But instead of sellers, he just gets a flood of fan mail and desperate pleas for carries. And then there is this guy who sends him a very personal and slightly terrifying profile picture. Finally, a player named Code 13 messages him, claiming to have the exact helmet he needs. But when Sumu asks for a price, the guy just trolls him, saying he is not actually selling it. After Sumu points out the helmet is for mages anyway, the shameless assassin just doubles down before getting blocked. Then Code 13 reveals his real price, the helmet for free if he can join the guild, the absolute audacity. And just like that, a system alert confirms Code 13 has joined the guild. Blackmail is a surprisingly effective recruitment tool, which Sumu immediately justifies with a creepy grin, claiming he will only add top players from now on. Because as the #1 guild, they have to maintain a certain level of prestige, standards. Then his new recruit teleports in, waving like a hyperactive puppy, and Sumu instantly facepalms with regret, as Code 13 asks why the guild is so empty, while our boy is already plotting to kick him out. But then the new guy notices the low guild funds and just casually starts dropping 1 million gold donations, sending the guild bank skyrocketing to 10 million and leaving Sumu's jaw on the floor. What is happening? So of course all his standards go right out the window when he learns his new recruit is a walking ATM. With the helmet finally in hand, he sees it completes a set with a cooldown reduction and a life-saving passive. And now fully geared, he is ready to raid, while Code 13 spams the guild chat offering 10 million gold for a carry. Sumu's solution to his new, very enthusiastic problem is simple and elegant, a 1-hour mute, before telling the guy he is too low level, so Code 13 just vows to hire an entire party to power level him. Next, Sumu sends a dungeon invite to Tingzu Wan, but this one comes with a 200,000 gold price tag. Calling down to her from a balcony like some kind of loan shark, asking if she is ready to pay up for a clear. And when she explains everyone's stuck on a boss, he just calls them all weak and sets a 9 o'clock deadline. He flashes a confident thumbs up, giving her his personal guarantee that they will clear the dungeon. So she tries to negotiate a refund if they fail, but he cuts her off before she can add her other conditions. Then he just laughs it off and zips away, leaving her completely flustered and blushing in the street. Half a day later, the team assembles. Sumu, a leveled-up Tingzu Wan, and Code 13, who is already fawning over his new teammate. And the shameless assassin immediately starts trying to flirt, asking his boss for a formal introduction. Sumu welcomes Tingzu Wan, then immediately shoves Code 13 forward to act as the group's personal hype man. So the little psycho starts blasting an ad for their dungeon run with a megaphone, because of course he does. And the world chat immediately calls it a scam, wondering why a level 10 is charging a fortune for an impossible dungeon. Some other guy tries to buy both spots for his friends, figuring it is a risk-free scouting mission with the refund policy. And soon two of Tingzu Wan's guildmates join, a warrior and a mage, both clearly skeptical of Sumu's plan. Code 13 wastes no time trying to flirt with the new warrior, who just looks at him like he is an interesting bug. Before he turns to Sumu and asks for permission to show off a bit, a request that should terrify everyone, because his idea of showing off is spamming the world chat 1,000 times with hype for his boss and guild. This entire party is just stunned by the 1 million gold flex, while Sumu just wishes he'd pocketed the cash himself. With the whole server now watching, the newly formed party finally assembles at the dungeon entrance, and Sumu leads the dive into the portal with total confidence, while the peanut gallery just gawks at his team. They land inside the massive temple, where a system alert immediately warns them of ancient, mutated evil. And as Code 13 starts losing his mind over the scale of the place, Sumu just calmly shushes him. Their first obstacle is a maze of glowing doors, which the forums claim is an inescapable, endless trap. So the warrior Shasha challenges Sumu, offering to let him lead if he actually knows the direct route to the boss. She gets right in his face, complaining about his level and the price tag, making it clear she is only here on orders. But Sumu just smirks and tells her she can leave anytime she wants, though her money is staying right here. Code 13 tries to play peacemaker, only for Shasha to roast him for being the weakest one in the party, brutal. And while they are all bickering, Sumu is already flying through the maze, telling them to keep up, leading them straight into the next area, a horrifying corridor with walls made of blood and shadow monsters. Tingzu Wan immediately starts laying out the next threat, superfast blood demons that wiped out every other team. But Sumu just strolls on by, telling them it is free real estate as long as they do not start anything. And what do you know, the creepy wall monsters just watch them pass, making everyone wonder how he knew that. After that spooky corridor, they are immediately greeted by yet another maze because this dungeon loves them. So Code 13 takes the opportunity to gloat to the ladies about how they should always trust his boss. This next room is a boneyard, and someone just has to ask the million-dollar question. These will not revive, right? Which is basically a formal invitation for a skeleton to start rattling itself back together. With the whole party panicking, Tingzu Wan immediately calls out Code 13 for jinxing it, and he knows he did. An entire legion of skeleton soldiers with glowing red eyes rises from the ground, stats and all. And one of them lunges forward with a silent scream, ready to kick this party off. This whole team draws their weapons as the undead horde charges straight for them. Sumu is the first to strike, unleashing a wind blade that slices a skeleton for a solid 433 damage. This only seems to make the skeleton angrier, its eyes flaring up in retaliation. Shasha, the warrior, throws up a magic shield to tank an overhead smash while the casters prep their spells. This mage follows up with a fireball, blasting another skeleton and proving she can pull her weight. Meanwhile, Shasha gets locked in a one-on-one sword clash, holding her own against the bony warrior. But she is quickly overwhelmed, with an enemy blade getting way too close for comfort. Just in time, the purple-haired mage casts a frost spell, giving Shasha some much-needed backup. Except her ice shards barely tickle the skeletons, making her complain about their ridiculously high defense. With the team getting swarmed, she turns on Sumu, accusing him of being a liar who cannot deliver on his promise. But Sumu just tells her to chill before dropping a massive fire spell that nukes the entire front line. And without even breaking a sweat, he starts charging up a giant ice orb to finish the job, unleashing a frost dance that erupts into a storm of ice shards, shredding through the remaining skeletons. Then for good measure, he rains down a meteor shower of pure fire, turning the boneyard into an absolute inferno. This whole team is just speechless at his damage numbers, with Code 13 already singing his praises. And with the room cleared, Sumu casually explains their lack of elemental resistance before asking someone else to do the janitor work. Shasha immediately loses it when she realizes all the loot is going straight to him because he is the captain. What a scam. But our boy just plays innocent, claiming he is broke while giving her the most sarcastic compliment of all time. Code 13 then tells the ladies to hurry up, calling this the best money they have ever spent, a true simp in his natural habitat, leading them to their next stop, a giant lava-filled chasm which Tingzu Wan recognizes as a path another team failed on. Shasha is absolutely convinced he is trying to get them all killed by making them jump. So he just tells them to wait 5 minutes, borrows a shield, and says he will handle it himself. Before our boy just yeets himself right off the cliff and into the fiery abyss below. He lands in the lava, taking basically zero damage as little fire salamanders swarm him. So he summons a pair of giant ice wolves to play fetch because of course he does. From the cliff above, the team can only wonder how he knows this place so well, while Code 13 continues his hype campaign. But Sumo ignores the mobs and points his staff at a glowing spot in the lava, clearly after something specific, causing a crystal cage to form around a fiery core, trapping the mysterious item inside. He pops back up right on time, holding his new prize, and Shasha is already accusing him of hoarding treasure. But all he pulls out is a tiny glowing chicken, leaving everyone baffled before he announces it is boss time. They arrive in a frozen wasteland and are immediately slapped with a cold debuff, so far so good, and the ground promptly tries to impale them with giant ice spikes, forcing everyone to scatter. As a massive horn erupts from the ice, heralding the arrival of something very, very angry, which turns out to be a horrifying ice centipede with a stack of human faces for a body nightmare fuel achieved. It lets out a deafening roar, but Sumu just stands there, completely unimpressed by the display. This monster then unleashes a psychic scream that has the entire party clutching their heads in agony, but Sumu just powers through it, telling everyone to snap out of it and get into position, before blasting the creature right in the face with a fire spell for a solid 3k damage. This only pisses it off, its head splitting open to reveal an even creepier face inside, which immediately retaliates with a massive ice breath attack that sweeps across the battlefield. Sumu easily dodges the blast and announces he is taking all the aggro. What a show-off. Then he lays out the strategy. It is immune to frost, so everyone needs to aim for its abdomen. While the others get ready, Code 13 just stands there asking what he is supposed to do, truly the MVP. Meanwhile, the centipede is charging up some kind of electric death ball aimed right at Sumu. Our boy braces for impact, knowing this next attack is going to hurt even with his stats. And then a quest pops up demanding he clear the dungeon without taking any damage, no pressure then. So he immediately blasts its weak spot, stunning it for 3 seconds and telling the team to go all out. But the stun wears off in a flash and the monster is already locking back onto Sumu. Shasha charges in with her sword while the mages unload, finally doing some real damage. And Code 13 is just running for his life from ice shards, screaming that he has not even attacked yet. This boss whips up a massive ice tornado, forcing Tingzu Wan to yell for everyone to be careful. But Sumu immediately takes all the aggro, telling the team to get clear of the storm, then zips through the battlefield like a blur, earning a fastest man title while dodging every tornado. Its next move is a volley of ice shards, and Code 13 immediately roasts his positioning, classic. This just makes the monster even angrier, its eyes glowing as it prepares to escalate things. So Tingzu Wan immediately panics, warning Sumu that the centipede is about to go berserk. And right on cue, it starts glowing red, summoning a whole swarm of mini centipedes from the ground, while all its body segments grow creepy glowing faces because one nightmare was not enough apparently. This creature then curls into a defensive ball, gaining total damage immunity and prepping a map-wide wipe. And while the team starts to freak out, Code 13 just smugly insists his boss has it all under control. Just then, mysterious beams of light start hammering the immune boss, catching everyone off guard. And the resulting explosion is so huge the mage is already bracing for a total party wipe. But Sumu just smirks, holding up that weird glowing chicken he found and telling it to go. Then he tosses the tiny bird into the air, leaving his entire party completely baffled. It is a chicken. This little thing erupts in a flash of light, so blinding the whole team has to shield their eyes. And when the light fades, they see it is transformed into a colossal, majestic golden rooster. This giant chicken then spreads its wings, effortlessly blocking the boss's ultimate ice storm, leaving his whole party speechless while Code 13 celebrates this unfair trick his boss pulled off. With its ultimate countered, the centipede is left dizzy and its berserk state is lifted, perfect timing. So Sumu immediately capitalizes, blasting the monster right in the face for a solid 1200 damage. Sumu unleashes a final, massive fire tornado and a system message confirms the centipede is toast. This boss drops a mountain of loot, including a purple item, and Sumu has full control over distribution. Tingzu Wan immediately spots the warlock gear and puts in a bid for 50,000 gold. But Code 13 instantly doubles it to 100k, just to make things interesting and annoying. Shasha tries to get her friend to back down while Code 13 just keeps simping with some truly awful compliments. He then reveals he is buying it for some other girl he met, a true romantic hero obviously. So Sumu officially starts the auction and the bidding war between the simp and the warlock is on. This price immediately jumps to 200,000 gold as Tingzu Wan refuses to back down. Code 13 quickly confirms that all this money is going straight to Sumu, who just smirks back. After getting the green light, he drops a casual 500,000 gold bid because his wallet knows no fear. This entire party is just stunned by the price tag, but Code 13 happily pays up for the skirt. Sumu is just annoyed he has to hand over warlock gear to a trash assassin, while everyone roasts Code 13. As they head to the next area, Code 13 gloats about being right, earning a "shut up, you dead Teddy" from Tingzu Wan. Ignoring the chaos, Sumu calmly places his hand on the next glowing blue door. This massive gate slides open, revealing a brightly lit path as he leads the way forward. They step into a desolate dead forest which Sumu immediately identifies as the next boss area. He explains the new mechanic: everyone needs to stand on a stone pillar and not move. This team gets into position, trusting our boy to trigger whatever fresh hell is coming their way. Sumu then walks alone through a misty, ruined village heading straight for the boss's lair. He arrives at a small house with a glowing seal, once a break room for the temple's construction workers. Apparently this house is cursed because 48 workers touched something forbidden and got sealed inside. And over the years, all those poor souls merged into one big nightmare that Sumu is now walking into. Meanwhile, Code 13 hears a spooky noise and Shasha immediately starts roasting him for being scared. He tries to play it off like he was worried about her, but she is not buying his brave man act for a second. So she just leans in and tells him the ghosts from the last maze are right behind him, absolutely savage. This mages also hear the commotion, with Tingzu Wan confirming the system alert about the merged workers. Inside the creepy house, Sumu finds an empty room filled with a sinister purple aura, and he is on high alert knowing something is about to jump out at any second. Our boy takes a cautious step forward, ready for whatever this place throws at him, when a sudden sound makes him whip around, finally facing the hidden threat. He knows these monsters are intelligent and do not have fixed spawn points, so he cannot let his guard down. Plus, that whole clear the dungeon without taking damage quest is really cramping his style. Then a horrifying goblin thing with a massive tongue lunges right at the screen. Hello, new sleep paralysis demon. This cursed worker leaps straight for our boy's throat, stats and all, but Sumu just casually one-shots it with a fire blast, barely dodging and calling it a close call. With the first one down, the room's dark energy starts swirling even more intensely. Because now a whole mob of them are phasing right through the walls to say hello. Dozens of them land on the floor at once, completely surrounding him in seconds. This entire house erupts with monsters, and Sumu is stuck right in the middle of the horde. And he is just realizing the one room at a time rule does not apply here. This is a full-on ambush. Sumu immediately counters with a massive ice spell, flash freezing the entire horde solid. But he is stuck inside this tiny house. If he leaves, the whole encounter resets. And with monsters this close, getting hit would fail his no damage quest, forcing him to think fast, so he pulls out a new skill. Energy Surge, which summons a perfect mirror clone of himself. And just like that, he's got a blue-tinted twin ready to throw down. Now for every fireball he casts, his clone casts 1-2, a 2-for-1 deal on monster cleanup. Even with the clones have damage, they are successfully holding back the tide of cursed workers. But his spirit power is draining at double the rate, leaving him on a tight clock. As even more monsters pour in, Sumu realizes he needs a more creative solution. He turns to his clone with a sly grin and a very suspicious "bro, I am sorry." Then our boy just kicks his own clone directly into the mob to take all the aggro. While the monsters swarm his decoy, Sumu casually chugs a potion in the background, a true strategist. With the kill count finally high enough, he triggers the next phase with a final ice blast. This remaining monsters flee into a sealed room as a system warning basically tells him to run for his life. Behind the door, their shadows begin to twist and merge into one horrifying entity. Sumu explains the mechanic. He has to let them finish merging or they will just respawn infinitely. From outside the shaking house, he notes that this whole dungeon is designed to crush newcomers. Meanwhile, Code 13 is lecturing the team to stay on their pillars no matter what happens. Shasha immediately roasts him, pointing out that the weakest guy with the worst gear sure talks a lot. And right then, a massive explosion erupts right in the middle of their formation, so much for that plan. This cursed workers' bodies start twisting together in a cloud of pure nightmare fuel. And out of the smoke comes the final boss, a horrifying flesh golem with a rebirth skill. Everyone is completely grossed out, and Tingzu Wan spots its nasty rebirth skill that lets it heal itself. This abomination then curls into a ball of screaming faces and comes rolling right for Sumu. Our boy immediately unloads a fire spell, chipping away at its health with a few solid hits. He sends it flying but notes its resilience is insane, making critical hits almost impossible to land. Suddenly, a massive claw comes crashing down from above and the team screams for him to watch out. Sumu just blasts it right back in the hand for a cool 1400 damage, not even flinching. Its hand explodes, splattering corrosive blood that melts a tree, a lovely detail Sumu almost forgot. He then lays out the plan. They have to lure it to one of the pillars to stop its healing. With its new target set, the creature scrambles towards him on a dozen creepy limbs. As he kites it with fireballs, Sumu warns everyone its blood causes unhealable poison damage. While the others use their skills, Code 13 just starts frantically climbing a pillar to save himself. Of course, the monster's tendrils immediately target him and he is just screaming his head off. This rest of the team unleashes their attacks, desperately trying to pull aggro off their useless teammate. Just in the nick of time, Sumu steps in to save the day, much to everyone's relief. He unleashes a massive ice spell with a casual "You are welcome, ever the showman." His spell flash freezes the monster's limbs, stopping it dead in its tracks as Code 13 gawks. These ice serpents then wrap around the pillars, completely locking the boss in place. His entire party just stares, completely stunned by the sheer scale of his power. Sumu's ice serpents have the monster completely locked down, a perfect trap. But the boss is not done yet and the team screams for Sumu to dodge its next attack. He just blurs past its claws, earning another fastest man title for his trouble. Then he sees his opening, rocketing in to punch the abomination right in its many faces. With the monster pinned, Sumu taunts it to make a move, already setting up the finale. Our boy then activates the pillars, telling everyone to stand in the light and stay put. These ancient columns erupt with purple energy, forming a massive sealing array in the sky. All that power converges directly on the trapped boss, bathing it in a holy light. This creature just writhes in agony as the seal purifies it, a truly brutal light show. His whole party is just blown away by the spectacle, completely forgetting they are in a game. Tingzu Wan is the first to notice the boss has a new status effect, pointing it out. Turns out the seal disables its rebirth skill, leaving it totally vulnerable for 30 seconds. Getting the signal, the whole team leaps into action for the final DPS check. They unleash a flurry of attacks on the helpless monster, holding nothing back. A massive meteor shower rains down, absolutely shredding the boss's health bar. Its grotesque body finally starts to crumble under the relentless assault from the party. While Code 13 celebrates their victory, Tingzu Wan notices the corpse is still moving. This flesh golem dissolves, revealing the cursed workers now freed from the monstrous form. These freed souls kneel before Sumu, thanking him for releasing them from their dark prison, and as a reward they offer up the only treasures they have left to the party. This boss drops 2 more chests, overflowing with gold and some very shiny purple gear. Code 13 is hyped, pointing out they got a 2-piece purple drop this time around. Sumu pops open a chest and his expression says he just hit the jackpot again. System messages confirm he got the frosted glass belt and shoes, a matching set. Both Tingzu Wan and Shasha are just completely speechless at his insane luck. Code 13 immediately declares he is buying the set for his mystery girl while Sumu just starts the auction. And just like that, our simp drops a cool 1 million gold for the 2 pieces, no hesitation. He then taunts Tingzu Wan, who just coldly tells him she does not want them anymore. Our boy just laughs it off as the girls stare in disbelief at his spending habits. Meanwhile, Sumu notes that this guy is a total unknown from his past life and feels bad for Tingzu Wan. With the loot distributed, Sumu announces it is time to head to the next level. He leads the party down a long, ominous staircase into the temple's depths. Code 13 gawks at the creepy murals, guessing they depict some ancient monster plague. They enter the inner hall where a system message warns them to complete a trial or die. These rules are simple: no eye contact with the boss and you can respawn infinitely, which sounds pretty easy. Tingzu Wan roasts Code 13 for acting like a pro, who then asks Sumu for the plan. But Sumu just tells them they are on their own this time, leaving the team totally confused. He then explains with a terrifying smile that infinite respawns means they will be dying. A lot. Right on cue, a system alert confirms their fate as a horde of dust serpents emerge from the ground. Sumu orders a full-on Aya assault and Code 13 realizes he has no Aya skills. What a surprise. This rest of the team unleashes a massive Aya barrage, trying to thin the herd of snakes. But these dust serpents just keep regenerating health, making every attack feel useless. Sumu realizes their healing is too strong to brute force without landing critical hits every time, so he just opts for overwhelming firepower, dropping a meteor shower on the entire room. Meanwhile, Code 13 gets absolutely demolished by a serpent's tail, our hero, everyone. He just gets his face repeatedly slammed, screaming his head off the entire time. One of the mages has to bail him out with a heal, which he of course thanks her for by calling her long-legged miss. Despite their efforts, the serpents just keep burrowing out of the ground, an endless tide of monsters. Suddenly, all the sand in the room starts swirling into a massive, ominous tornado, and from it emerges the third boss, the faceless serpent queen, ready for her debut. Her eyes glow and Sumu screams for them not to look, but it is already way too late. This entire party gets hit with an unhealable poison that paralyzes them and drains 100 HP a second. Code 13 is the first to go, getting zapped right in the face for breaking the one rule. Soon the rest of the team collapses as the poison melts their health bars to 0. Code 13 revives just in time to get instantly killed again. Welcome to the death loop, buddy. This whole party is now stuck in a cycle of respawning and dying, complaining that the game is too hard. After letting them suffer, Sumu finally steps in, telling them to close their eyes and back away. He then asks how they enjoyed the fun, and Code 13 immediately begs to be carried from now on. Just as they catch their breath, Sumu announces the boss is about to transform for round 2. This serpent queen towers over them, officially inviting them to open their eyes and start the real fight. This faceless serpent queen makes her grand entrance, and her stats confirm she is a total beast. Sumu tells everyone to use ranged attacks, but Code 13 pipes up that he does not have any peak performance. This team opens fire, but the queen is way too fast, easily dodging their spells. One of the mages manages to land a few hits, celebrating her tiny victory a little too early, because the boss immediately retaliates, spewing a massive cloud of deadly poison everywhere. Sumu screams for everyone to watch out for the poison spray, trying to keep his team alive. He barks out orders for Shasha to protect the healer while the others fall back immediately. Shasha throws up a massive energy shield, just barely holding back the toxic onslaught, but even with the barrier, the sheer force of the attack sends most of the party flying. Code 13, meanwhile, is just plastered against a wall, looking absolutely terrified, a true warrior. So Sumu summons his energy clone again, getting a sweet magic attack boost for his trouble. His clone immediately unloads a massive fireball right into the queen's face. Sumu then orders his clone to switch to ice support, setting up their next big push. With that opening, the entire party charges forward, unleashing a coordinated barrage of skills. Their assault actually works for once and the boss's health bar finally takes a solid hit, but the queen is far from finished as her eyes begin to glow with a menacing light. Tingzu Wan realizes what is happening, warning everyone that a massive curse is coming. This boss then unleashes her Myriad Serpent's Curse, a literal tidal wave of spectral snakes. Everyone is completely swarmed and Shasha complains about her phobia of crowds priorities people. Sumu realizes the fight has changed, this skill should not be here and they need a new plan fast. Sumu eyes his clone, deciding it is time for a noble sacrifice, his clones of course. He then boots his own clone into the air, dubbing it the human cannon, a truly innovative strategy. This clone rockets headfirst into the Serpent Queen, who looks utterly confused by this tactic. His party just stares, wondering if using your clone as a projectile counts as selling out a teammate. As the clone latches onto the Queen's face, Sumu screams for everyone to exploit the opening. This whole team unloads everything they have got, knowing the clone will only last for 3 seconds. Right on schedule, the clone detonates in a massive explosion, stunning the boss completely. Leaping in for the kill, Sumu tells everyone to ignore the ads and focus on the main target. But he is now surrounded by snakes, realizing a single hit will make him fail his personal quest. With no room left to dodge, he finds himself completely trapped by the slithering curse. Deciding to take a gamble, he charges up a massive fireball to blast his way out. His spell flies towards the lunging snakes as the boss's health bar hits critical levels. At the last second, a snake gets right in his face, ready to deliver the final blow. But his team comes in with a clutch save, unleashing their own spells to protect him. Sumu just casually catches the snake mid-strike, flash freezing it solid with his bare hand. That opening is all they need to land the final, devastating blow right to the queen's head. This Serpent Queen and her spectral minions finally begin to dissolve into nothingness. As the threat fades, Sumu breathes a sigh of relief, happy his wild guess paid off. And right on cue, 2 massive flashes of light signal the boss loot has finally dropped. System messages confirm they have scored a ton of crimson refined stones, a very valuable prize. Sumu just laughs off the close call, while Tingzu Wan admits she was genuinely worried for him. He then gives the hooded mage a head pat for being so reliable. Time to check the loot. Naturally, Code 13 is clueless about the stones, so Sumu explains they are priceless gear enhancement materials. But just as they are admiring their haul, a massive rumbling from above grabs their attention. At the far end of the hall, a massive stone gate starts to grind open on its own. It reveals a dark passage billowing with an ominous, otherworldly blue mist. With the path now clear, the whole team cautiously approaches the mysterious entrance. System messages confirm this is the final level with a simple rule: worship the statue or die. Our boy's face goes grim. He knows this place from his past life as the home of a world-ending threat. Code 13 then asks if Sumu is tired, wondering if they are expected to tackle the 4th level. This guy immediately gets flustered, admitting they cannot even clear the 1st floor without being carried. Sumu just sits down, telling everyone to take a break and wait for their cooldowns to reset. Then Code 13, ever the gentleman, orders the long-legged sorceress to give Sumu a massage. Her guildmates are instantly furious, defending their president from his absolutely ridiculous request. But to everyone's shock, Tingzu Wan actually starts massaging him, finding the idea surprisingly nice. Meanwhile, Code 13 gets chased by the other sword-wielding girl for calling her a witch, a classic romance. With their breakover, the entire party steps into a massive blue teleportation field. They arrive in a stormy wasteland only to find the grand statue is already headless and destroyed. Lightning cracks across the sky, illuminating the massive, decapitated statue in all its glory. And our brave warrior Code 13 is hiding behind Sumu, who roasts him for being scared when the girls are not. Just as they are taking in the scenery, a massive demonic claw erupts from the ground, shattering the stone floor as this absolute beast of a monster pulls itself free. It is a colossal black dragon and it is staring right at them. Talk about a warm welcome. This thing is crackling with power, looking like it just stepped out of a nightmare. Its stats are all question marks, and Tingzu Wan realizes this was the mount for that headless statue. This dragon asks if they are devotees, and Sumu immediately starts bootlicking, swearing they are the biggest fans. With tears of blood, it commands them to avenge its master and protect the temple's artifacts. Then it offers them a baptism, blasting the whole party with beams of pure energy, giving them a massive stat boost, which Code 13 thinks makes him a god, but Sumu knows better. A system alert names the real threat, an alien called Apophis, and Sumu knows one wrong move means mind control. This quest updates with a dire warning: stop Apophis or the whole continent is doomed. Sumu steels himself for the challenge while Code 13 is just screaming for a fight. Classic. Suddenly, a massive glowing greatsword materializes out of thin air, and it rockets straight towards the unsuspecting black dragon's head. In a flash of light, the blade slices clean through the dragon's neck, a one-shot kill. This party can only watch as a shadowy warrior impales the dragon's severed head, pinning it to the ground in a brutal display of overwhelming power. This new arrival stands over the corpse, its silhouette radiating pure menace, and everyone gets a nice shower of dragon blood, their faces a perfect mix of shock and horror. And there he is, the big bad himself. The system confirms this is the destroyer star Apophis. This team realizes they are only alive because the dragon's barrier took that first apocalyptic hit for them. So naturally, they all volunteer to charge out and fight, insisting their new buffs make them useful. Sumu is actually touched by their sudden bravery, wishing everyone could be this united for the real apocalypse. But he just leaps out of the protective bubble alone, ordering them to stay put like a good little support crew. He lands outside, declaring that for a no-damage clear he has to solo this and he will kick anyone who follows. And the boss's stat sheet pops up revealing Apophis is a level 100 alien lord with terrifying stats. Back in the cheap seats, the party is absolutely losing it over the level gap. They are not even level 10. But Tingzu Wan spots a critical detail. Apophis is suffering from a heavy injury debuff, weakening it by 90%. They also notice a true damage status, which means Sumu is about to feel 100% of the pain from every hit. Apophis looms over our boy, asking why he smells like death, and Sumu just smirks back, ready to trade barbs. This alien lord dismisses him as mere food, demanding to know where his foolish teammates are hiding. Sumu just casually raises his staff, informing the cosmic horror that he is all the backup he will ever need. Apophis finds this hilarious, summoning a massive energy sword while calling him weak and arrogant. It raises the crackling blade high, ready to swat this little pest out of existence once and for all. This ground absolutely shatters as the sword slams down, unleashing a storm of lightning and debris. But Sumu is already on the move, effortlessly dodging through the storm of shrapnel with a grin. He immediately retaliates with a volley of fireballs, landing several direct hits on the enraged boss. Now thoroughly annoyed, Apophis starts ripping up the arena floor, hurling massive boulders at him. Sumu just hops onto one of the flying rocks, using it as a surfboard while explaining he is not dumb enough to brawl. From his new vantage point, he prepares another spell, ready to kite this monster using his past life knowledge. His ice spell slams into Apophis, chipping away at its health with a flurry of critical hits. This alien lord is absolutely furious, calling Sumu a despicable, cunning human for outsmarting it. In retaliation, Apophis unleashes a massive, swirling vortex of pure destructive energy. From their bubble, the party panics, wondering how Sumu could possibly dodge an attack that big. Suddenly, a server-wide announcement declares that Sumu is fighting the final boss, shocking everyone online. Other players completely lose their minds. They are still stuck on the first floor and he is at the end. A whole list of server firsts pops up, cementing Sumu's team as national legends. Meanwhile, at the Wing Country Research Institute, some rival officials are just learning the news. Their leader throws an absolute tantrum, kicking a monitor while screaming about his useless team. After calming down, he immediately orders his staff to find Sumu and offer him a 500 million salary. This guy is completely convinced that a player from a mere ancient country will grovel for the chance, and now it is a global bidding war with other nations offering billions and even 100 actresses. Classy. Back in the arena, the ground is a shattered wasteland from the sheer force of Apophis's attack. But Sumu knows the secret. This area attack is just a ground-based shockwave with a fatal flaw, so he just casually dives into the water, knowing the attack cannot reach him there. His team, however, is still watching the apocalypse unfold, completely terrified for their leader. Tingzu Wan quickly checks the party stats, pointing out that Sumu's health bar is still completely full. And there he is, just chilling underwater while a cataclysmic attack rages above him. He knows that after this ultimate move, Apophis will be staggered and wide open for a counter popping back up. Sumu unleashes a meteor shower, taking a huge chunk out of the boss's health. Apophis slams its sword down, but Sumu's already in the water, thinking he is completely safe. Except the boss immediately unleashes a second shockwave, which is definitely not in the strategy guide. This new attack blasts him right out of the water, and he is wondering if the devs patched the difficulty mid-fight. To make matters worse, Apophis dives right in after him, ready for a little underwater execution. Our boy is now swimming for his life, looking like he is about to be eaten by a cosmic horror shark. In the real world, he is literally holding his breath in his gaming pod because his no-damage run is on the line. He is struggling to hang on, his face a perfect picture of I refuse to drown in a video game. With a huge gasp, he finally breaks the surface, getting some much-needed oxygen. Apophis is out too, but Sumu realizes that with its sword out, it cannot use that cheap shockwave again. Back on his feet, he immediately starts blasting away with another volley of fireballs. And his gear procs a special flash effect, stunning Apophis for 5 whole seconds. A beautiful lucky break. This alien lord just flails around uselessly, calling him an annoying ant while missing every single swing. Sumu uses every last millisecond of that stun to unload a ton of damage right into its face. With the stun over, he gives himself a little thumbs up, reminding himself to stick to the plan, hit and run. Meanwhile, his party is just watching in awe, completely convinced he is going to be a legend. Tingzu Wan gets all philosophical, realizing this apocalypse is more than a game and pondering her future role. Another meteor shower rains down from the sky, hammering Apophis with even more damage. From their safe little bubble, the team is screaming encouragement, ready to post this win all over the forums. Apophis is absolutely radiating rage now, asking if these foolish humans really think they can win. Then it starts powering up, promising to show them its ultimate form, because of course there is another phase. Apophis goes full anime villain, unleashing a world-destroying transformation that engulfs everything. This attack forms a massive, swirling vortex of pure destructive energy, not exactly subtle. It completely vaporizes the water and shatters the entire landscape into nothing but rubble. From their bubble, the party is absolutely losing it, calling it an undodgeable, map-wide apocalypse. Just then, their protective dragon barrier fades and they start panicking, thinking Sumu is toast. But Tingzu Wan pulls up the party stats, revealing Sumu's health is still full, and Code 13 immediately screams hacker. His name is still lit up on the roster, confirming he is alive and somehow dodged a nuke. Apophis stands there, all smug after its ultimate move, probably admiring its own handiwork. It even starts monologuing about how foolish humans are for daring to oppose the superior aliens. This party looks around the now empty arena, wondering where the boss even disappeared to. Turns out Apophis is on its knees, completely drained and cursing that dragon for its heavy injury debuff. Suddenly, a voice from above starts taunting the alien lord, calling it a worthless, pathetic being. His team is just stunned, trying to pinpoint where Sumu could possibly be hiding. And there he is, standing completely unscathed on a tiny ledge right under the boss's feet. Talk about a blind spot. Everyone finally gets it. The most dangerous place was actually the safest, a truly galaxy brain move. Now it is 2-on-1 as Sumu and a newly summoned clone face down the weakened alien. He activates his Hand of Death skill, doubling all his damage for the grand finale. Both of them unleash a massive volley of spells, absolutely hammering Apophis with a storm of damage. With that final overwhelming assault, the boss's health bar finally hits 0. Defeated, Apophis gives one last villain speech about how humans just do not understand true power. Sure, buddy. Standing on the corpse, Sumu asks what right these alien rulers have to invade their world. His face twists with pure contempt as he calls the cosmic horror nothing but a joke. Then he slams his staff down, delivering one final punctuation mark of a blow. With its dying breath, Apophis promises they will meet again because of course it does. This massive alien body just shatters into a million pieces of light, finally defeated. A heavenly pillar of light now shines down where the boss once stood, marking the victory. And there is our boy, basking in the golden glow like a true chosen one. His team is absolutely losing it, with Code 13 screaming about how cool his boss is. As the last bits of purple energy fade, the real prize starts to materialize. It is a literal mountain of loot, and Sumu counts 12 epic tier drops, hitting the jackpot. Code 13 immediately offers 1,000,000 gold for 2 items, and Sumu is all business. A server-wide alert confirms their victory, listing a perfect kill on every single boss. Everyone else gets a D rank, while Sumu snags an SSS for a perfect no-damage clear. This announcement hits every server, shocking players all across the world with the news. Meanwhile, some poor saps are getting absolutely mauled by trash mobs. Talk about bad timing. Even organized raid teams can only stare in disbelief at the global announcement. This world chat erupts into chaos, with everyone either praising or trying to recruit Sumu. Back home, players are kicking themselves for not joining his party when they had the chance. With the dungeon cleared, Sumu officially disbands the team, telling everyone to log off and rest. Tingzu Wan gives him a little wave, promising to see him later. The ship is sailing, people. Back in the real world, it is a peaceful night in the capital of the ancient country. Tingzu Wan is just chilling at home, looking absolutely exhausted from their apocalyptic dungeon run. As she gets up to stretch, her phone starts buzzing off the hook on a nearby table. Her company group chat is absolutely exploding with praise and a whole lot of gossip about Sumu. She just ignores the calls from jealous guild leaders and hops in the shower. Let him stew. Meanwhile, Sumu is still in game, staring down into a chasm where the alien invasion source lies hidden. Suddenly, a mysterious voice calls out to him, and our boy looks up, completely caught off guard. It is the spectral form of the earthly black dragon, whose soul is finally free after the boss fight. This dragon gives a whole speech about its master and offers a final gift to the warrior who avenged them. And boom, a piece of legendary tier damaged evil dragon armor appears right in front of him. With its duty done, the dragon's soul fades into the sky as Sumu respectfully sees it off. He logs out, opening his eyes back in his pod and feeling the weight of that dragon's legacy. Our boy gives a big stretch, deciding to enjoy the peace before the real chaos kicks off tomorrow. After a good night's sleep, he logs right back in, spawning into a quiet town square. He opens his server-first treasure chest and gets an absolutely insane haul of rare loot and materials. His DMS are getting spammed by Code 13, who is freaking out about the recruitment offers, including one with fringe benefits. Sumu just ignores him, checking out his new epic staff and his shiny new level 10 stats. He also finds a mysterious map fragment that points to some powerful evil being's secret treasure. Then he pulls out that legendary armor piece, ready to use a special scroll to identify its true power. Elsewhere, Tingzu Wan seems a little hesitant to move on, looking sad about leaving her friends behind. Elsewhere, Tingzu Wan gets a call from her boss while still in her towel. This shadowy figure gives her a critical mission for the company, citing her connection to Sumu. Her new assignment is to join Sumu's guild Fengshen Valley, an order she was clearly expecting. This boss tells her to get close, gain his trust, and then drops the super classy "as a woman you know what to do" line. Back in the game, she sends Sumu a private message, formally asking to join his guild. Our boy is stunned she'd abandon her own guild, realizing her corporate backers are making a play for him. He immediately lays down the law, warning her that his guild will not be a corporate pawn and he will not tolerate betrayal. Tingzu Wan agrees, promising to help the guild while also claiming this is her personal wish. And Code 13 absolutely loses his mind, changing his name to Dark God to impress the new girl, Peak Simp Energy. Sumu summons them to the guild hall where the newly named Dark God and Ting Wan appear. This guy immediately starts laying it on thick, calling her long-legged lady and trying to hype up Sumu. He then declares himself second brother and her third sister, much to her visible confusion. Sumu tells him to cool it before getting down to business, choosing a main city for their guild. This game world is basically a fantasy version of Earth, with different regions and cities mirroring real continents. Ting Wan suggests a popular sorcerer city, while Code 13 just vows to follow his boss anywhere. But Sumu drops a bomb. He has decided they are going to Winter City in the Kunlun Mountains. Ting Wan immediately flags this, pointing out that Winter City is an SSS-level danger zone. She explains you cannot even teleport there, and the journey alone could get your account permanently deleted. Our boy just gives a smug little smile, saying he is already aware of all the risks. As she keeps trying to warn him, Code 13 notices she is genuinely worried, not just putting on an act. Sumu just brushes off her concerns with a smirk, saying high risk means high reward. She finally gives up and leaves, while he tells Code 13 they are leaving tomorrow and mutters that women slow him down. Ouch. Code 13 is just amazed by his boss's focus, then reports that the world is buzzing with rumors that Sumu's a traitor. Before leaving the starter village, Sumu gets a final SSS rank quest completion from the chief. This old man hands him a disguising cube, which is perfect for going incognito later on. He then accepts the main quest to head to a major city, already eyeing that SSS difficulty zone. Standing in the town square, he gives a whole speech to himself about getting strong for the apocalypse. And as for all those foreign recruiters trying to poach him, he has got a special message for them. He makes a server-wide announcement declaring his loyalty to the ancient kingdom and telling everyone else to back off. Back in the real world, we get a shot of a modern, bustling city. Sumu's just chilling in his chair, thinking about his parents before his big journey tomorrow. He gets a text from his dad who sends him some cash and says he and mom are busy with research. This hits him hard as he remembers how they sacrificed themselves for him in his past life. While relaxing, he is also keeping an eye on the game world, watching other players grind and stream their progress. He notes how the in-game economy is already taking shape, with guilds forming around crafting and services. Elsewhere, a mysterious woman is sipping wine while researching main city choices on her computer. She takes a thoughtful drink, clearly planning her next big move in the game. This purple-haired beauty wonders where she should go in this massive apocalyptic world. This game's title screen flashes, reminding us of the world they are all playing in. And back in game, Sumu cashes in another hidden quest reward, getting a cross-class skill for his perfect run. Sumu checks out his new skill book, which is a massive 50% heal for sorcerers. Guess he is a part-time cleric now. Next up, he pulls out that disguising cube from the village chief, knowing he needs to go incognito. As the cube activates, he figures if he has gotta change his face, he might as well upgrade to premium handsome. And there is the new look. He introduces himself as Mu Shen, looking like a final boss from a romance novel. Right on cue, the newly named Dark God rushes over, screaming that his boss is finally online. This guy proudly flexes his new, fully enhanced purple gear set, looking for some praise. He is completely baffled by the new face, but Sumu just casually tells him it is a simple appearance change. Dark God immediately starts fawning over Sumu's legendary armor, saying his own +9 gear now looks like trash. With a smug little smile, Sumu just shuts him down with a simple, "No, you cannot get it, ice cold." Then the guy notices Sumu's entire set is fully +9 and absolutely loses his mind, asking how much cash that cost. Sumu claims it was just a few hundred, while Dark God whines about breaking 3 weapons just trying to hit +10. Our boy tells him to quit complaining so they can hit the teleporter, and Dark God is instantly hyped again. Sumu double-checks if he is really ready for an SSS-level zone, prompting a whole speech about his boring rich kid life. This sob story makes Sumu comically cry, begging him to shut up while Dark God keeps piling on the flattery. Suddenly, Ting Wan teleports in, and Sumu asks why she cannot just warp them straight to their destination. Dark God immediately calls her third sister, telling her to get a load of the boss's handsome new face. She reveals she is wearing a special gear set he gave her, declaring she is absolutely coming along for the ride. Her loyalty impresses Dark God, who whispers to Sumu that she is definitely sister-in-law material, much to Sumu's annoyance. Now fully geared up as a healer, Ting Wan officially rejoins the party, and Sumu declares it is time to move out. This 3 of them stand united, ready to finally take on the legendary and deadly Winter City. This system confirms Sumu's absolutely insane choice, Winter City, the SSS-level death trap. With a flash of light, the teleport is successful, dropping them right into a frozen wasteland. They land on a platform in the Kunlun Mountains, and Dark God is already whining about the cold. A system message helpfully reminds them this place is a graveyard for countless warriors, great for morale. Sumu's just admiring the hyper-realistic graphics while his teammates are freezing their butts off. He then checks his skills and finds a new one. The Hand of Death has unexpectedly appeared. Turns out, activating it requires a laundry list of absurdly rare materials. The grind is real. Just then, Dark God's passive skill goes off, warning them they have got company already. A massive level 13 snow wolf immediately lunges at them, ready to tear them apart. But before it can even blink, a wind slash cleaves it in two, one-shotted by an unknown party. A new guy with a comically large sword steps out, recognizing Sumu's alias from the server announcements. This dude is level 14 and carrying himself with the kind of smugness only a high-level player can muster. He brags about picking the same city, assuming he can just leech off Sumu's fame to get to Winter City. Then his face twists into a nasty sneer, telling Sumu he does not really have a choice in the matter. On his signal, an entire army of players materializes on the cliffs, completely surrounding our trio. Tingzu Wan notes these guys must have power leveled like crazy, skipping other content to get here so fast. Sumu, completely unimpressed, just deadpans. So are you guys here to rob us? This leader claims the road is blocked by a monster and offers to share intel as a supposed friend. When Sumu asks what happens if he refuses, the guy gets territorial, threatening him on his turf. And then the creep drops the real price. He will consider letting them pass if Tingzu Wan plays with his crew. This leader's crew just erupts in laughter, making some seriously classy comments about Tingzu Wan. So Sumu turns to her, asks if she is willing to sacrifice a little, and she just calmly agrees. He then faces the leader, offering a deal. If the guy can survive one regular fireball, they will cooperate. His goons immediately start mocking Sumu, calling him a weak mage and telling their boss to accept. And the leader totally buys it, screaming that 100 fireballs could not even scratch him, big talker. Sumu just flicks his wrist, and that regular fireball slams into the guy for over 5,000 damage. This dude gets instantly vaporized, his soul comically shooting out of his smoldering boots. His entire army just stares in stunned silence, unable to process how their boss just got one-shotted. Sumu just cracks his knuckles, noting that killing players means a red name and a 100% loot drop rate. This leader respawns, immediately screaming about reporting Sumu for cheating, a classic sore loser move. But he made one tiny mistake. The respawn point is right where they are standing and Sumu's already got him. Our boy does not even hesitate, just blasts him again at point-blank range for an instant replay. Seeing their leader get deleted twice in 10 seconds, the rest of the mob starts having second thoughts. Sumu just floats up, summoning a storm of ice shards and asking what all the yelling is about. Then he unleashes the ice barrage, wiping out a huge chunk of the enemy players in a single devastating attack. This leader respawns for a third time, only to find himself face-to-face with another friendly fireball. All around them, the rest of the crew keeps respawning, trapped in a hilarious cycle of instant defeat. Their souls are just getting farmed at this point, flying out of a fiery explosion on a permanent loop. Finally, the survivors are on their knees, begging him to stop. Guess they learned their lesson. Meanwhile, another player watches from the sidelines, screenshotting the whole beatdown for the server drama channels. This leader's tough guy act completely vanishes and he is on his knees apologizing for ever talking big. He spins a sob story about being a victim stuck for days after his old boss took all the women, a true tragedy. Dark God immediately realizes why their group is a 100-man sausage fest, while Sumu just looks bored. Getting in the guy's face, Dark God demands he kneel properly, which finally gets him to spill the intel. Sumu figures this mob could be useful as cannon fodder, so he agrees to let them tag along under his command. Now leading an army of his former enemies, they head into the next zone, the territory of the Snow Python. This former leader is already whispering to his buddy, hoping to see Sumu fail against the monsters that wiped them out. Sensing the massive wave of skepticism, Sumu addresses the crowd, promising he can get them through the danger. He then lays down 3 simple rules: obey orders, do not die, and do not be a coward, or you are out. To sweeten the deal, he dangles his guild's exclusive buffs, promising gear and even gold dividends for top performers. Then he plays his ace, introducing Tingzu Wan as the guild's social director, and suddenly everyone's paying attention. This crowd absolutely loses it, now desperate to join for the gear, the gold, and especially the girls. With morale secured, Sumu reorganizes them into proper squads and leads the charge into the Snow Fox region. Their path leads through a creepy forest draped in giant snake skins, which really helps with the whole do not die rule. Just as they are being warned about the python's stealth, Sumu suddenly holds up a hand, halting the entire column. He orders the mages to blast a completely empty patch of snow up ahead, much to their confusion. Following his command, a volley of fireballs rains down, seemingly hitting absolutely nothing. But the explosions reveal the ambush, a whole pack of level 15 snow pythons with a nasty ice armor buff. Without missing a beat, Sumu orders the archers to fire explosive arrows, pushing the monsters back and slowing their advance. He orchestrates the whole fight, having archers break their armor while mages bombard them with fire, a flawless counterattack. His strategy works like a charm, turning the entire battlefield into a barbecue pit for ice snakes. Their one-stuff ice armor just shatters under the fiery assault, leaving them totally vulnerable. With the pythons nerfed, the melee squad mops them up, amazed they have not even used a single potion. An assassin gives Sumu a glowing review for letting them get all the kill steals, finishing blows. After the slaughter, the whole army is chanting Sumu's name, their loyalty completely bought and paid for. He dismisses his new fan club for the day, setting a strict time for their next session of monster farming. That former leader tries asking for his dropped belt, but Sumu just trolls him, saying he forgot to pick up the +9 item. Just then, a horned warrior woman appears, asking for help finding her husband who was taken by the pythons. She mentions the Snow Python King and Sumu's gamer senses immediately start tingling. This is a hidden quest. Our boy knows he cannot just agree or the NPC's script will break, so he has gotta play hard to get. He puts on a whole "I am just a weak little mage" act until she offers her best reward, sealing the deal. Then he flips the script, puffing his chest out about his duty to slay evil. What a hero. She hands him a red rarity map as a down payment, then points them toward the boss's lair. Standing on a desolate peak, she shows him exactly where her husband was probably dragged off to. They find a massive pit littered with bones, and at the center, a legendary sword glows ominously. It is the Sword of the Sun, just casually sticking out of the ground like a very expensive grave marker. As she wonders if her husband is okay, Sumu's probably just wondering about the loot. But their sightseeing is cut short when she screams a warning about something right behind them. A colossal ice tail comes crashing down, narrowly missing them and shattering the frozen ground. And there it is, the level 20 Snow Python King, looking very, very ready for its boss fight. This warrior woman immediately goes into a battle stance, screaming beast at the top of her lungs. Demanding her husband back, she charges head-on, swinging her massive blade at the Python King. But the boss just casually spits out a smaller, purple snakehead projectile to intercept her. She cleanly slices the magic missile in half, proving she is no pushover herself. Sumu, meanwhile, warns her another one is coming, already prepping a fireball to provide backup. His first volley just pings off the boss's face for pitifully low damage. That ice armor is no joke. Our boy confirms the strategy. He has to land a fireball directly in its mouth to break the armor. Before he gets the chance, the Python King breathes out a frost mist, freezing Dark God in place. This warrior woman shoves him aside just as the boss's tail slams down, narrowly saving his life. Leaping into the air, Sumu tells them to hang on because this is the perfect opportunity to strike. He aims for the mouth, but the boss reacts instantly, showing off some surprisingly fast reflexes. With a confident smirk, Sumu activates his backup plan, the Grim Reaper's hand skill. This super-buffed fireball flies straight and true, landing perfectly down the Python King's throat. This internal blast shatters its armor completely, dealing a massive 20,000 damage in a single hit. Now that it is vulnerable, Sumu unleashes a rain of fire, and the damage numbers start stacking up like crazy. Seeing her opening, the warrior woman launches herself into the air, screaming for the beast to die. She lands right on its head and drives her glowing red sword straight through its eye. What a finisher. This Python King rears back in absolute agony as its health bar finally bottoms out. Its colossal body crashes to the ground, with the system confirming the Snow Python King has been killed. Standing over the corpse, the warrior woman finally breathes a sigh of relief, saying it is finally over. But the warrior woman is not celebrating, screaming that she still has not found her husband. Refusing to believe it is over, she drives her glowing red sword deep into the python's corpse. She proceeds to carve the massive beast open, desperately searching for any sign of him, and with a look of dawning horror, she finally finds what she has been looking for. It is his severed hand, confirming her husband was indeed eaten by the monster. In a tragic monologue, she clutches his sword, talking about how they cannot be separated even in death. Sumu just watches, realizing this quest is ending on a seriously depressing note. Turning to him, she makes one final request, and our boy already knows where this is going. She asks to be buried with her husband, which is a pretty heavy ask for a random adventurer. Even Sumu is a little moved by their story of undying love, or at least he is pretending to be for the quest XP. He honors her wish, creating a makeshift grave for the two lovers on a snowy peak. With the quest complete, a system window pops up with a boatload of rewards. Tragedy is profitable. He scores 2 single-use scrolls, one for a massive AI attack and another for a huge personal buff. Thanking the dead NPCs for their loot, Sumu logs out of the game, mission accomplished. Back in the real world, his chill session is interrupted by a call from a completely unknown number. On the other end is someone from the Empire, rewarding him for rejecting offers from other countries. They casually inform him that 30 million has been wired to his account as a little thank you. This caller then offers to handle any dissatisfactions he might have, specifically mentioning a Jiang Wan. Sumu is completely thrown because the person who saved him in his past life had that exact name. A sudden flashback hits, showing a chaotic battle scene with people screaming for a healer. This flashback reveals him on death's door with someone desperately screaming for a healer. A glowing green hand appears, casting a healing spell right over his chest. Through his blurry vision, he recognizes his savior. It is the woman from the phone call, Jiang Wan. She asks if he is feeling better, telling him to rest while he is just thinking she is an angel. Before he can properly thank her, she gets called away to deal with another monster attack. She wishes him well and has to go, leaving him completely starstruck by her kindness. Back in the present, Sumu has a full-on cringe attack, realizing he just acted like a big shot in front of her. He then makes a solemn vow to protect Jiang Wan in this life, repaying the kindness she showed him before. Logging back into the game, Sumu appears on a snowy plain, ready for the day's grind. But he is totally alone, wondering where the hell his new army of cannon fodder went. A quick check of his friends list shows Dark God is online, but the others are nowhere to be seen. Suddenly, his screen is flooded with panicked messages from Dark God. They have all been wiped out. This chat log is pure chaos, with his crew reporting they are being farmed at the respawn point. Sumu cannot believe it, wondering who would be dumb enough to target him specifically. Dark God gives him the answer he is looking for. It is the Madman Guild again. They are apparently camping the respawn point, and half the new recruits have already rage quit after losing gear. Just as Sumu's getting furious about his new army's morale tanking, Wan Shen logs in right behind him. He quickly explains the situation and she is immediately ready to go kill some griefers, no questions asked. Meanwhile, the Madman Guild has captured Dark God, who is apparently trying to sneak a message out. Their leader is literally using a player as a chair while his goons surround the defeated crew, peak villain behavior. This Madman Guild is just wailing on Dark God, offering to heal him just so the beatdown does not end too soon. Their leader offers him a deal, publicly trash-talk Sumu in the world chat, and they will let him log off. Watching from afar, Wan Shen is ready to charge, but Sumu holds her back, worried about his new recruits losing their gear. That caution lasts all of 5 seconds before Sumu gets a terrifying grin, vowing to make them regret ever being born. He immediately pulls up the cash shop to buy a dual order, an item that forces a 2-hour no-escape deathmatch. In the party chat, Sumu gets the damage report before laying out a simple plan: kill their warlocks and he will handle the rest. To start things off, he pops that red rarity map from the last quest, unlocking a devastating new Aya fire skill. Sumu finally makes his grand entrance and the Madman leader is shocked, immediately mocking him for showing up. Still using a player as a throne, the guy taunts Sumu about his gearless team and demands to be called Grandpa. But Sumu is not even looking at him, his eyes are locked on the other guy with the glowing purple sword. It is the Madman Guild's vice president, a famous player from his past life, now rocking some seriously upgraded armor. This leader keeps running his mouth, telling Sumu to log off if he is scared, completely oblivious to the danger he is in. In response, Sumu just plants the dual order flag in the snow, officially challenging the entire guild. While the bosses are distracted, one of their assassins tries to go invisible, clearly planning a sneak attack. This VP gets a report that there is no backup, confirming their belief that Sumu came here all alone. Feeling untouchable, the leader accepts the duel, gloating that he is about to strip Sumu of all his gear. But then some internal drama kicks off when the VP openly questions his leader's authority right in front of everyone. This VP then turns to Sumu, giving some fake praise before saying this whole attack was an order from their real boss. He then offers to stay out of the guild-on-guild brawl, but he has one personal request for Sumu. And that request is a one-on-one duel to the death with Sumu after this whole mess is over. Wan Shen explains the duel's insane stakes. A loss means a full character wipe plus all your gold. Sumu accepts anyway, but the VP cuts in, reminding everyone about his own little deathmatch request. With some classic villain bravado, the Madman leader accepts the duel, locking both guilds into the fight. This battlefield is set, showing Sumu's tiny crew facing the entire Madman Guild. The odds are just comical. With a massive roar, both armies charge and the sky immediately fills with a storm of magic. From above, Sumu's vastly outnumbered team braces for the overwhelming magical assault. His frontline tanks pop their shields, creating a barrier that barely holds against the explosive volley. From behind the shield wall, his ranged units unleash a furious counter-barrage of their own. This Madman leader screams for his troops to break their formation, personally leading the charge. He gets right in Sumu's face, gloating about the level gap while winding up a massive axe swing. But Sumu just zips right past him, leaving the leader stunned as he makes a beeline for their backline. Moving like a total blur, he dodges every attack they throw at him, proving impossible to pin down. He lands right in their backline, unleashing fiery chaos as archers start screaming for a warlock to heal them. Their support line immediately scrambles, casting green healing spells to try and mitigate the damage. Just then, one of Sumu's assassins decloaks and guts a healer. The real plan is just getting started. This Madman leader absolutely loses it, screaming for his frontline to fall back and protect their support. Meanwhile, Sumu is coolly directing traffic in the guild chat, orchestrating the whole attack perfectly. Totally enraged, the leader calls his own guild trash and decides he has to handle this himself. But as his warriors turn, Sumu unleashes that new Aya skill, raining fire down on their unprotected heads. Sumu just watches the chaos unfold, telling the furious leader he is thoroughly enjoying the show. This Madman leader, high on his own supply of confidence, orders his goons to swarm Sumu. Instead of his fire scroll, Sumu pulls out a new one for Snowfall Dual Blades, time for a change of pace. He activates it, summoning 2 elemental swords and getting a massive stat boost, leaving the enemy totally confused. Their leader panics, screaming for his frontline to charge immediately and not give Sumu a second to breathe. Multiple axes slam into him, but each one only deals a single point of damage, a truly pathetic display. With a smirk, Sumu just unleashes a swirling ice attack, flash freezing everyone who got too close. Even the guild leader is caught in the blast, frozen solid with a priceless look of disbelief on his face. Seeing their boss get instantly deleted, the rest of the guild decides to just spam ranged attacks from a distance. A whole volley of magic just pings off him for 1 damage a pop as he charges right through it. He becomes a whirlwind of red and blue slashes, tearing through their ranks so fast they cannot even track him. Standing over the bodies, Sumu notes his health is down by half, but his elemental buffs are working perfectly. Just as he needs it, a green healing spell washes over him. It is Wan Shen providing that crucial backup. She tells him to stay focused because her job is to keep their MVP in the fight even if she is hurt too. Our boy seems genuinely caught off guard by the support, offering a quick word of thanks. But in that split second, the Madman VP appears from nowhere and stabs Wan Shen right through the chest. This resurrected guild leader starts gloating, laughing that now Sumu's nanny is gone, he is completely defenseless. And that is the last straw. Sumu's eyes glow with pure, unadulterated rage, calling them bastards. A massive wave of power erupts from him as he completely loses his cool, ready to end this. He floats into the air, summoning a storm of fire and ice, calling the cowards out for a real fight. Deciding to go all out, he thinks about that other scroll he was saving, looks like later is now. Sumu finally unleashes that scroll, screaming out the name of his new favorite party trick. A massive sword made of pure fire descends from the heavens, aimed right at the enemy guild. It plows through their formation, sending players flying as they try to outrun a literal sunbeam. This impact vaporizes dozens of them instantly, their souls shooting out of the fiery explosion, and Sumu just stands there, casually dusting off his hands like he did not just commit mass player deletion. This madman VP is left staring at the carnage, wondering what kind of wizard can pull off an attack like that. He is suddenly rethinking that whole duel to the death thing, realizing he may have picked the wrong fight. Meanwhile, in the real world, someone at Madman Guild HQ is absolutely losing their mind. This in-game leader is getting poked in the head by his superior for getting their 1,000 elites farmed. This Sutentai boss is furious, yelling about how all their gear is gone and he cannot possibly compensate everyone. This guy on the floor pathetically begs for another chance, but his boss is too busy having a meltdown to listen. Then a new voice enters, calling the boss trash and telling him to shut up. Looks like there is a bigger fish. And surprise, the real guild master is the VP, the Madman Emperor, who has been running things from his high-tech pod back in the game. The VP calmly admits he misjudged Sumu's power and asks about their duel. Sumu knows this guy's reputation as a lone wolf who finds hidden treasures. He is definitely hiding a trump card. This VP then lies that his boss wants him to give up the duel, probably to gauge Sumu's confidence. Our boy just shrugs, basically asking him to spit it out and stop wasting his time. A quick flashback reveals the VP's legend. He once single-handedly destroyed an entire guild for crossing him. Sumu realizes this guy is stubborn and incredibly dangerous, making this a much bigger problem. In the real world, the Sutentai guy tries to forbid the duel, but the Emperor reminds him who actually built this guild from nothing. Inside his high-tech pod, the Madman Emperor is absolutely buzzing, deciding he really wants this fight. This Sutentai guy is having a complete meltdown, pointing at the pod and screaming the Emperor's name. His thoughts are laser-focused on one thing: he must fight Sumu and he must win. A split screen shows the two rivals, with the Emperor demanding Sumu use his best skills in their duel. Back in the game, a red duel flag slams into the snow, officially starting their one-on-one deathmatch. This Emperor wastes no time, leaping into the air with a sword crackling with purple lightning. He unleashes a skill called Mountain Collapse, and even Sumu is caught off guard by its sheer speed. Sumu's crew watches the massive explosion, stunned that a warrior class can have such a terrifying attack. Some resurrected madman goon starts taunting them, explaining that skills can be enhanced. What a genius. Wan Shen immediately claps back, calling him trash and reminding him they still killed him anyway. This guy then gets real personal, accusing her of being a gold digger and Sumu of changing his guild for her. He keeps yapping about the Emperor's hidden power while Sumu's crew just notes his expensive purple gear. Meanwhile, the Emperor himself is just glowing with power, looking every bit the final boss of this instance. Sumu quickly analyzes the last hit, realizing he took a ton of damage just from the aftershock. As the Emperor dives in for another strike, Sumu knows his opponent is still holding back. Deciding it is time to put some pressure on, Sumu's own staff begins to ignite with roaring flames. He soars into the air to meet the attack head-on, basically screaming, "Bring it on." A massive vortex of fire erupts around the Emperor, who looks genuinely shocked by this sudden counter. This flames then form into a gigantic fiery beast hurtling straight for the Madman Emperor. In response, the Emperor summons a massive mountain shield, bracing for the fiery impact. This Emperor's shield holds against the firestorm, but he is definitely feeling the heat inside that vortex. His shield starts to crack under the pressure, hitting him with burn damage and a speed debuff, but he just powers through it, leaping out of the flames for a devastating counterattack. With a roar, he unleashes another heavy sword impact, sending a massive wave of purple energy. Sumu zips out of the way, and the Emperor realizes our boy is using air strikes to avoid his burning ground effect. Our boy is just chilling midair, thinking this guy's golden finger is almost as good as his own. That cockiness gets him clipped by another space-splitting attack, taking a massive critical hit. He hits the ground hard, his health bar nearly empty, completely stunned by the sheer damage. But then he pops a warlock skill. Bathed in divine light, instantly healing back half his health. Realizing a toughness buff just saved his life, he unleashes a frost dance to buy some time. This Emperor just scoffs at the attempt, slicing through the ice attack like it is nothing. He is getting seriously annoyed that his best moves are not working, deciding it is time to use his trump card. A dark red aura starts to envelop him, granting him total immunity to, well, everything. He activates his blood sacrifice rampage armor, a transformation that gives him invincibility and a massive stat boost. Sumu immediately recognizes the skill, 5 seconds of pure invincibility, confirming the Emperor is also a regressor. Now glowing with power, the Emperor calls out Sumu's name, ready to end this duel for good. He closes the distance in an instant, ramming his sword right through Sumu's desperate block. This impact sends a shockwave across the entire battlefield, kicking up a huge cloud of snow and ice. Our boy goes flying, absolutely fuming that he just healed only to get nearly one-shotted again. Towering over him, the Madman Emperor declares the fight over, you lose. With Sumu down, his crew tries to rush in, but a Madman goon smugly blocks their path. This guy starts a victory chant, screaming for the Emperor to finish Sumu off for the guild's honor. But the Emperor's final blow lands and Sumu looks completely wrecked by the impact. An absolutely massive shockwave of ice and energy erupts from the point of contact. Seeing the explosion, the Madman Guild erupts in cheers, already celebrating their invincible Emperor's win. His own crew just stares in horror, with Wan Shen whispering his name, thinking it is all over. Feeling bold, the goon lays out his terms: hand over all their gear or face total annihilation. Then things get extra classy as they offer to spare them if Wan Shen accompanies their leader. One of Sumu's guys is about to throw hands, but Wan Shen holds him back, knowing it is a trap. Just then, the Emperor's purple sword comes flying out of nowhere. It impales the loudmouthed goon right through the chest, much to his own surprise. From the dust cloud, a silhouette emerges, coolly asking what all the chatter was about. That lead goon is absolutely terrified, sweating bullets as he recognizes Sumu's voice. And there stands Sumu, completely unharmed, with a single word for the goon: trash. His crew erupts in celebration as the system announces Sumu the winner. The Emperor is dead again. This rest of the Madman Guild immediately starts logging out, not sticking around for round 2. Wan Shen is just stunned, wondering how he pulled off a win when his health was at rock bottom. Meanwhile, the Madman Emperor materializes at a resurrection point, looking completely dazed. It slowly sinks in as he mutters to himself that he, the great Emperor, actually lost. A flashback takes us back 5 minutes, right to the moment of that seemingly final, decisive blow. Back in the flashback, the Emperor drives his sword through Sumu, thinking the fight is finally over. But his victory is cut short when he realizes he just stabbed a clone. The real Sumu is perfectly fine. Our boy appears behind him, explaining he swapped places in the last half-second to dodge the fatal blow. Knowing he cannot tank another hit, Sumu immediately casts Freeze Bondage, trapping the Emperor solid. And with his opponent completely immobilized, he follows up with a giant fireball point-blank. Now at the resurrection point, the Emperor is having a meltdown over his lost gear, gold, and experience points. His signature purple sword even drops right beside him, a final, humiliating reminder of his defeat. Sumu appears, declaring their guilds are now at war, but the Emperor just tells him to finish the job. Amused by this sudden display of backbone, Sumu casually conjures a small ball of fire. He then flicks it forward with a completely nonchalant expression. This fireball sails right past the Emperor and torches some random madman goon who just respawned. As the goon gets vaporized, the Emperor asks why Sumu is not killing him instead. Sumu then offers to trade back all the Emperor's dropped gear, saying he does not want a permanent war. Waving goodbye, he hopes their next encounter can be a friendly competition instead of a bloodbath. His crew is baffled he'd return plus 10 gear, but Sumu just says he is forming a new 5-person team. His real plan, though, is to recruit the Emperor, a lucky guy known for finding hidden quests. This red-haired assassin is hyped for the team, until Sumu jokes that assassins are totally dispensable. After some pathetic begging, Sumu relents, saying their special team will definitely need him. Wan Shen wonders if the Emperor would ever join them after they just wiped out his entire guild. Right on cue, a friend request from Killer God arrives and Sumu accepts, knowing a smart rival sees an opportunity. In private chat, the Emperor thanks Sumu for the gear, quits his guild, and vows to win their next fight. Sumu then dangles the ultimate bait, casually mentioning he is leading a hidden dungeon run tomorrow. Back in the real world, the Sutentai boss is losing his mind over the Emperor quitting, but the guy just does not care. Our boy Sumu just dismisses the real-world drama, saying he has much more important things to do. This Emperor immediately starts begging for a dungeon invite, even offering to come for no loot, but Sumu just says no. This leaves the Emperor having a full-blown identity crisis, weighing his massive ego against the fear of missing out. Then Sumu throws him a bone with a meeting time, adding a little threat for the Madman Guild just for fun. Our boy knows exactly how to play this guy, realizing the Emperor is a total fanatic for hidden quests. But there is one condition to join: the Emperor has to call him Big Brother, which nearly makes his head explode. After all that tough talk, he folds instantly, typing out a pathetic, "Brother, the thirst for loot is real." He immediately starts rationalizing it, telling himself it is a 5D chess move and totally not humiliating at all. This scene then cuts to a group of people trekking through a snowy, real-world mountain range. They arrive at a shocking discovery: a massive frozen phoenix statue impaled by a spear in a giant crater. This is the legendary Kunlun Mountains, a place of myth that is now the site of something impossible. This exploration team just stares in awe, completely baffled by the scale of the icy monument. We meet the team, with 2 men discussing family, retirement, and a son who plays Apocalypse all day. Turns out the game is the whole reason they are here. Players discovered a passage that matches this real-world location. Standing at the edge of the dark chasm, the explorers decide they have to venture down to investigate. Meanwhile, back in the game, Sumu and his crew arrive at the first stage of their own journey, a massive glacial rift. This red-haired assassin is amazed by the rickety bridge, while his teammate points out the -100-degree death zone below. Just as they are about to cross, the whole crew hears a faint cry for help echoing across the ice. This red-haired assassin spots some poor guy drowning in snow and immediately thinks he has hit the hidden quest jackpot. Convinced it is a helpless NPC, he sprints over to be the hero and kick off the mission. But Sumu is having a complete meltdown, realizing his teammate is running straight into a very, very obvious trap. A close-up on the victim reveals a horrifyingly bloated purple face, which is generally not a good sign. And right on cue, the guy's body erupts into a disgusting purple worm monster with a giant, toothy maw. Just as the assassin is about to become lunch, Sumu zips in with a psychic blast, grabbing the creature mid-lunge. He then telekinetically yeets the monster away, saving his friend from what would have been an instant death bite. This creature quickly burrows back into the snow to escape, leaving the assassin wondering what just happened. Sumu explains the horrifying truth: that was not an NPC, it was another player being used as monster bait. Before they can process that, a nearby snowdrift starts to move and the whole team braces for another attack. But instead of one big worm, a whole pack of phantom snow foxes with glowing red eyes bursts from the ground. In seconds, they are completely surrounded by a sea of elite monsters, trapped in a defensive circle. While everyone else panics, Sumu calmly explains the foxes have a predictable attack pattern he can exploit. He demonstrates by firing a spell right where a fox is about to land, proving they always jump before they strike. This fox leaps directly into the explosion, taking a massive chunk of damage. The pattern is confirmed. With the strategy set, he orders the warriors to form a shield wall while ranged attackers pick off the foxes. It is a total slaughter, with the foxes basically committing suicide by jumping right into the team's coordinated attacks. Sumu tells them to keep up the pressure, fighting their way across the field toward the bridge. He lays out the full plan: cross the bridge to hit the next stage and a new checkpoint, giving specific orders for the crossing. This team sprints across the rickety bridge, yelling at each other to hurry before Sumu gets overwhelmed. At the entrance, Sumu holds the line, calling down a firestorm to keep the fox horde busy. His crew makes it to the other side, relieved they did not have to fight that massive swarm themselves. They call for him to join them and Sumu gives a silent nod, impressed by their speed. But just as he is about to cross, he spots that disgusting purple worm monster resurfacing nearby. His face contorts in panic as he realizes it is not aiming for him, but for the bridge itself. That monster immediately confirms his fears, conjuring a giant icicle to destroy the walkway. With a roar, it launches the ice spear like a torpedo straight at the bridge's foundation. This impact is devastating, shattering the path and sending a few poor souls screaming into the chasm. Sumu struggles to stay upright on the collapsing bridge as his team shouts warnings from the other side. Now tangled in the ropes, he knows he has to get across fast before the monster finishes the job. Then a teammate points out a new problem: a herd of giant beasts is now blocking the path behind him. And of course, the worm monster is already winding up for another shot, leaving him totally trapped. He pulls off a wild backflip to dodge the next ice shard, barely avoiding a long fall. Done playing defense, Sumu decides to fight back, hurling a massive fireball at the creature. His attack collides with the monster's ice projectile, creating a huge explosion that knocks him off his feet. His crew watches in absolute horror, screaming his name as he is engulfed in the blast. In a last-ditch effort, he hooks his staff onto a rope, catching himself just before he plummets. Dangling helplessly over the abyss, he realizes he is completely stuck in a terrible position. On the other side, his team is in a full-blown panic, too far away to help and with no idea what to do. His team is yelling that they have to find a way to get him across the chasm and fast, but Sumu looks up to see that horrifying worm monster crawling down the rope right for him. A system window identifies it as the rotten flesh of the devil, an elite parasite with unknown stats. He then spots an undigested hand, realizing this thing permanently deletes players from the game. Across the gap, his crew panics, knowing if that monster gets over, they are all dead meat. Seeing the massive threat, Sumu makes the only logical call. He screams at them to cut the rope. His team absolutely refuses, arguing that they cannot just let him fall to his death. With the monster closing in and his friends hesitating, Sumu decides to take matters into his own hands. He casts a fireball on his own lifeline, choosing to sever the rope himself to stop the creature. And just like that, both Sumu and the monster go plummeting into the icy darkness below. His crew just screams his name, watching the empty rope swing back in total disbelief. Hurtling through the abyss, Sumu is getting absolutely thrashed by the howling, freezing wind. He is struggling to hold on, but the sheer cold is starting to overwhelm him completely. In fact, his fingers freeze solid to the rope, which is a uniquely terrible problem to have. Looking down, he sees the monster is still attached, patiently waiting for its frozen dinner to be delivered. Up on the cliff, his team is having a complete meltdown, certain he is gone for good. Now a human popsicle, Sumu cannot even move, trapped between being eaten or freezing to death. As the monster opens its giant maw, he just resigns himself to a really undignified respawn. But suddenly, a massive ice spike erupts from below, impaling the monster right before it can bite. Everyone is completely stunned, wondering where that impossible gust of wind came from. From the depths of the chasm, a massive glowing blue spirit suddenly erupts, leaving the entire team speechless. It is a legendary ice phoenix, whose cry signals the arrival of lucky warriors to this hidden area. For their good fortune, the whole party gets a system-wide buff of 200 potential points, not a bad consolation prize. Dangling below, Sumu just stares up at the rare phenomenon, completely stunned by the turn of events. He then notices the worm monster is frozen solid, with a strange glowing object lodged inside it. This object is the Ice Phoenix Spirit Crystal, and he realizes the Phoenix's appearance was to seal this monster, saving his life. A system window then offers him a choice: take the crystal but know that doing so will release the seal. Sumu weighs instant death against losing a legendary item, and the answer is pretty obvious: the loot must be secured. Deciding to strike first, he grabs the crystal while simultaneously blasting the monster with a point-blank fireball. This plan seems to work as he successfully snags the prize and sends the creature falling away. Except the monster had already entangled itself with the rope, and now it is coming up with him. Fully unsealed and absolutely furious, the creature opens its massive maw and starts climbing at an insane speed. Up on the cliff, his team sees his health bar is still active and realizes their boss is somehow still alive. This red-haired assassin and the warrior immediately start heaving the rope, desperate to pull him to safety. As he is being hoisted, Sumu yells for everyone to prepare for battle and attack whatever follows him up. His crew is totally confused but trusts the order, readying their spells for a very unwelcome guest. The second the monster crests the ledge, they unleash a massive volley of fire and arrows. Sumu finally scrambles onto solid ground, and his very first command is to cut the rope. His tank does not even hesitate, bringing a massive sword down to sever their only connection to the abyss. With the rope cut, the flaming, pin-cushioned monster finally plummets back into the darkness. Just when they think it is over, the monster comes rocketing back up, making everyone question this dungeon's difficulty. This whole team unleashes a magical barrage, with two mages blasting the creature with everything they have got. Even more attacks rain down from an archer and another spellcaster, determined to keep it from reaching the top. With one final, explosive push, the creature is finally knocked back down into the chasm, hopefully for good this time. Back on solid ground, the crew asks what the hell that was, and Sumu confirms it was a piece of an evil demon. He just brushes it off, explaining it is a special event in the game's ongoing war, and tells them to keep moving. Meanwhile, back in the real world, the Kunlun exploration team is still waiting for rescue by the giant Ice Phoenix statue. Inside their tent, things have gone horribly wrong. An ancient, extinct centipede is currently latched onto an old man's leg. One of the researchers finds out it hates fire, which is, super helpful in the middle of a blizzard. This old man, seeing no other option, just screams at his subordinate to literally burn his entire leg. Without hesitation, his teammate douses the leg in fuel, making the giant bug squeal in protest. He then insists they light it immediately, figuring a burnt leg is better than no leg at all. Questionable logic, but we will go with it. His subordinate grimly obliges, setting the man's leg and the centipede ablaze in a desperate move. Through sheer agony, the old man endures the flames, literally cooking the monster off his own body. This flaming bug finally detaches and scurries away, immediately targeting a new, less on fire victim. But the glasses-wearing guy intercepts it with his bare hand, getting stabbed for his trouble. It lunges right for him, probably aiming for a more vital spot than a hand this time. In a flash, he whips out a metal pot and expertly traps the fiery little nightmare inside. Breathing a sigh of relief, they all agree they have probably stumbled into something way above their pay grade. Staring at their new pet in a pot, they wonder if this cave is a tomb of the gods, which would explain the prehistoric horrors. This researcher adds that besides the bug, he saw something else down there, and he is not sure if it is dead or alive. Their leader gives the standard stick-together order, and the team immediately agrees to go get food and water. Two members brave the raging blizzard, one heading into a supply tent while the other stands guard. But then they look up and realize the giant Ice Phoenix statue has somehow completely changed its position. Back in the game, Sumu's crew reaches a snowy pass, taking a much-needed break before tackling the next section. He gives them a side quest to collect glowing white flowers, promising a big reward for whoever finds the most. A woman on the team complains about the task, but then immediately pivots to asking for his contact info. She then drops a bombshell, revealing she knows he is the hidden boss and that he saved her in a past life. Sumu, completely unfazed by this revelation, just looks at her and says he trusts her. This woman, Mu Shen, is clearly moved by his faith in her, thanking him with a warm smile. Meanwhile, in the real world, a massive crowd is gathered for a live gaming tournament, watching the finals on a huge screen. In the audience, a guy with a popsicle tries to impress a girl by predicting the match while his friends call him out for it. On stage, an archer named Yue Mo uses a blink skill to perfectly dodge a warrior's heavy attack. She instantly counters, charging up a massive glowing arrow that has her opponent on the defensive. With a final, devastating arrow rain, she completely overwhelms the warrior and secures the victory. This girl is amazed, and our popsicle-wielding expert smugly explains the archer's winning strategy. A winner's screen reveals Yue Mo is from a top-tier guild, which explains her incredible skill. Then another woman tells the pink-haired girl, Luo Jiusi, that it is her turn, mocking her for being only level 12. This woman publicly shames Luo Jiusi, calling her a loser and insulting the guy she is talking to. She gets right in her face, telling her that her mage class is trash and demanding she either fight or quit the guild. With the crowd cheering for a fight, Luo Jiusi declares she will lose with dignity, not that she will lose at all. Then she immediately turns to the popsicle guy, begging him to be her master and save her from total humiliation. He scoffs at her bribe of a midnight snack but agrees to help anyway because a man has his principles, I guess. Luo Jiusi logs in, her level 12 mage character materializing in the arena, ready for a beatdown. In a private chat, he discovers her build is a complete train wreck, a mage specs for tanking, wearing gear because it looks good. As the battle begins, the two players sit in their pods while their avatars face off on the massive screen. Meanwhile, two men in suits watch from above, one noting that the archer would be even meaner if she knew Jiusi's real identity. This blonde guy, Chin Lang, reveals he is tired of the archer anyway and is way more interested in the pure Luo Jiusi. Back in the fight, the archer Yue Mo lands the first shot, hitting the mage dead on for a solid chunk of damage. Her new coach is absolutely losing it, screaming at her to dodge while she just panics, waiting for instructions. Following his frantic orders, she uses a wind skill to sidestep a volley of 3 arrows. He then tells her to pop a shield, and she manages to summon a magic barrier to block the next hit. Unfortunately, the shield immediately shatters because of course it does, and she takes more damage. Yuemo mocks her efforts, charging up a massive arrow rain skill to finish this pathetic display. Seeing the incoming area of effect attack, her coach tells her to get a fireball ready on a 3-second countdown. Right on cue, she unleashes a big fireball, which is exactly as impressive as it sounds. This crowd, however, goes wild, thinking this is some 200-ick counterattack to catch the archer off guard. And somehow it works, landing a critical hit right in Yuemo's face, a truly glorious moment. Now completely enraged, Yuemo activates her ultimate skill, a thunder arrow, to make this level 12 nobody pay. This audience instantly recognizes the high-tier purple skill, declaring the match officially over for our girl. Her new master is not having any of that losing with dignity nonsense and orders her to start extreme operations. Following his command, Luo Jiusi immediately throws up a wall of ice thorns to defend herself. This completely throws off the archer, whose ultimate skill suddenly loses its target, a classic case of overconfidence. With Yuemo stuck charging, the coach gives a precise command to sidestep just a little bit. Yuemo is absolutely fuming, realizing this pathetic mage is getting expert help from the guy next to her. She taunts Luo Jiusi for relying on a man, while the coach preps her for a perfectly timed counterattack. He gives her a 1-second countdown, telling her to get ready to fire at 11 o'clock. This second the ice shatters, she unleashes a blinding light spell that hits Yuemo right in the face. Now the crowd is going wild, suddenly convinced this level 12 mage is a tactical mastermind. Blind but still furious, Yuemo powers up her thunder arrow again, refusing to let this humiliation stand. Luo Jiusi just starts spamming basic fireballs, forcing the archer to either tank the hits or waste her ultimate. Her coach tells her it is time to test her luck, calling her a little fool for a bit of tough love. Yuemo finally lets the thunder arrow fly, landing a massive critical hit that sends Luo Jiusi crashing to the ground. But her coach just yells that the archer is out of mana and to keep attacking until she is defeated. This audience watches as the high-level archer gets relentlessly pelted by low-damage fireballs, a truly humbling sight. Then one of her fireballs triggers a passive skill, unleashing a fire falling from the sky. A massive meteor shower of fire rains down, completely engulfing the stunned archer in flames. Yuemo barely survives and lands a final shot, smugly declaring victory over the fallen mage. Just as the crowd laments her loss, someone points out that her skill has triggered asterisk again. And Yuemo looks up in pure horror as a second meteor shower comes screaming down from the sky. This second meteor shower absolutely engulfs Yuemo in a massive, screen-shaking explosion. On the main screen, the announcer calls it a draw, but the system immediately flashes wrong. This crowd goes absolutely wild, pointing out that Luo Jiusi is somehow still standing. Turns out her gear has a passive that lets her survive a fatal blow with 1 HP, a total game changer. With her rival defeated, Luo Jiusi strikes a victory pose, celebrating her completely luck-based win. Back in the real world, she is cheering her head off while Yuemo just seethes with the fury of 1,000 suns. After logging out, Luo Jiusi looks around for her senior, but the popsicle-wielding coach has already vanished. He just sends her a text congratulating his little fool before bailing on the promised midnight snack. What a guy. Elsewhere, Sumo is just brushing his teeth, trying and failing to get a hold of his globetrotting researcher parents. He then checks his phone to see a report from his team. They collected over 8,000 of those white flowers. Logging back into the game, Sumo gathers his crew and starts divvying up the flowers for the next big task. He then pulls out the legendary Ice Phoenix crystal he nearly died for, admiring its incredible stats. Realizing this item was worth the risk, he decides it is finally time to build a proper, reliable guild. A system notification immediately announces that he has promoted 2 members to vice president. This red-haired assassin is ecstatic, while Sumu just smirks, thinking a good member is one who spends money. At that moment, a heavily armored warrior with a massive greatsword approaches the group. Everyone recognizes him as the Emperor of War, a legendary player who recently left his old guild. Then, to the entire team's shock, a notification reveals this top-tier player has just joined their guild. Sumu shakes his hand, welcoming him but also warning him that once you are on his boat, you cannot leave. With his new core team assembled, they all pose, ready to take on the Snow Forest Altar hidden dungeon. Sumu kicks things off with a friendly warning. This hidden dungeon is so dangerous his friend got wiped out instantly. Mu Shen immediately picks up on the friend part, realizing Sumu has access to some seriously exclusive intel. Inside, the red-haired assassin spots a glowing, ethereal old man just standing there, looking very out of place. And his first genius move is to poke the spooky ghost statue, basically asking for trouble. It immediately shatters, and he starts taking damage over time, panicking that he is about to die from curiosity. Sumu, looking completely unimpressed, just shoves one of the white flowers into the guy's mouth. His health instantly refills, and Sumu lays down the one and only rule: do not touch weird stuff or you are on your own. This very next hallway is, of course, lined with hundreds of the exact same ghost statues they were just told not to touch. While the Emperor of War mulls over the dungeon's mysteries, the assassin just wants to know what these creepy things are. Sumu explains they are shells, the soulless husks of former people, which is not comforting at all. Naturally, another member of the team immediately touches one and it shatters, draining his health just like the first guy. As this new victim screams, Mu Shen calmly opens her spellbook, ready to deal with the latest idiot. She casts soul imprisonment to stop him from moving so the team can shove a healing flower down his throat. After being saved, the guy claims the statue moved first, which is why he touched it, a truly bulletproof defense. Sumu clarifies that it is just a hallucination and the flowers are basically an antidote to the dungeon's mind games. So now the entire raid party has to stand there and choke down these disgusting, bitter flowers to stay sane. With their wits about them, they finally reach the next area, a massive, open basin made of ice. This basin turns out to be a giant coliseum, packed with a literal sea of thousands of kneeling shells. Sumu's grand strategy is to just walk straight through the ghost army, reminding everyone to hold on to their flowers. Two of the guild members start creeping through the silent crowd, their skin crawling as the shells just watch. As they walk, all the kneeling shells suddenly dissolve into a gust of icy blue particles. This particles whip past the team, and the red-haired assassin gags, convinced he is being hit with bits of dead people. All that ghost dust then swirls into the air, converging on a massive crystalline altar in the center. A giant glowing blue spirit materializes on the platform, welcoming the first living people to arrive in ages. He notes they smell like the purification flowers he likes and invites them to check out his lonely little altar. Right on cue, a system notification pops up, offering a quest to enter the altar and find the secret behind the shell. Sumu immediately orders everyone to accept the mission, ready to dive headfirst into the new challenge. This entire guild is then teleported onto a circular platform inside the altar, surrounded by a glowing grid. But Mu Shen immediately points in horror at what is waiting for them just outside the circle. That entire army of thousands of shells has suddenly stood up, and one guy confirms this is not an illusion. This whole team starts to panic, realizing they are hopelessly outnumbered and surrounded on all sides. One member is already convinced they are about to get wiped out the second the fight begins. And to make matters worse, the entire platform they are on starts sinking into the ground like a cursed elevator. This whole raid party descends on their glowing platform, plunging deep into a massive, dark chasm. They finally land in a misty forest, where a notification reveals the altar's other name, the birthplace of the demon god. Another message explains the shells are failed products from a bloody experiment in a place called Dark Purgatory. Sumu, completely unfazed by the whole demon god thing, just tells everyone to get into formation. Their path takes them through a grim, narrow corridor lined with what look like prison cells. This red-haired assassin peers at a busted cell, asking if they have stumbled into a biological research facility from a horror game. Sumu then drops the terrifying logic bomb: if the shells are failures, there is probably a finished product lurking around. And right on cue, a single, ominous green light appears at the end of the pitch-black corridor. From the darkness, a horrifying, clawed hand slams down because of course the finished product is friendly. This thing is a backbone beast, an elite monster that gets stronger in the dark and can paralyze on hit. Sumu lays down the law: kill all the beasts to pass, but if you die you do not get resurrected until it is over. With the stakes set, one of the monsters immediately lunges at the party, screeching for a fight. This entire team unloads on it, pelting the creature with a coordinated volley of spells and arrows. Even after a massive critical hit, the beast just screams and keeps on coming, barely even phased. It finally collapses at Sumu's feet, seemingly defeated after that initial barrage. This Emperor of War scoffs that it was simple, but Sumu's face says, "You sweet summer child." He just smirks that it is not over as the dead beast behind him starts to split open and reform. This monster resurrects and Sumu explains its gimmick: you have to destroy its bone spur or it just keeps regenerating. One of the guild's warriors steps up, ready to be the hero and chop that spur right off. His axe bounces off with a loud clang and he is just stunned that his big attack did absolutely nothing. This beast immediately retaliates, stabbing the poor guy right through the shoulder for his overconfidence. Sumu yells out the real strategy: use fire to soften the spur, which makes it vulnerable to attack. So the mages switch tactics, focusing fireballs on the spur to weaken it before the melee fighters move in. But just as they are getting a handle on things, someone spots a whole bunch of new glowing lights behind them. It is a full-blown ambush. Hordes of spine beasts are swarming them from both the front and the back. This party is instantly overwhelmed, with members getting grabbed and screaming for someone to soften the spurs. One guy just yells to kill them fast, realizing they are about to be completely overrun by the regenerating monsters. This guild members are in full-blown panic mode as the beasts just get back up, screaming about how impossible this fight is. It gets even worse when they see the monsters gnawing on their fallen comrades, a real 5-star dungeon experience. Sumu watches the chaos, acknowledging they were caught off guard and the casualties are piling up fast. So our boy finally gets serious, activating his mental energy to create a perfect blue clone of himself. He then lays down the new plan, blasting the horde with fire while telling the warriors to focus on the spurs. His mirror image perfectly mimics the attack, doubling the firestorm and engulfing the entire corridor in flames. This fire applies a burn that shreds the beast's defense and speed, giving the team the opening they desperately need. With a monster properly weakened, the Emperor of War charges in and shatters its bone spur with a single decisive blow. This creature finally collapses and stays down, proving Sumu's strategy is the only way to win this. Now that they know what to do, the other melee fighters rush forward, ready to reap the harvest and smash some spines. Meanwhile, the red-haired assassin decides this is the perfect time to test out the new technique Sumu taught him. In a quick flashback, Sumu reminds him that assassins cannot just run in swinging, they have to fight smart. This lesson was to use his speed to find weaknesses, not just face dank monsters like an idiot. Sumu even demonstrated his deadly blade technique, a move so fast the assassin barely even saw it. Putting that lesson into practice, he zips around the beast, looking for the perfect angle to strike. He lands a clean, precise hit right on the monster's neck, aiming for that critical weak spot. Remembering Sumu's advice not to get greedy, he fluidly dodges the beast's counterattack. This creates the perfect opening for him to land a massive critical hit, taking the monster down in one shot. He immediately strikes a pose, bragging to Sumu about his solo kill while Sumu frantically warns him to look behind him. And just in time, Shen throws up a shield to save his overconfident butt from a sneak attack. Some lessons die hard. With the strategy finally figured out, the melee fighters charge in to clean up the last of the regenerating beasts. Sumu gives the assassin a final warning not to let his guard down, which the guy just laughs off, a true professional. A system notification confirms they have cleared the level, resurrecting the fallen members who are just happy to be alive. This team debriefs, learning these monsters were a special reincarnation type way nastier than normal mobs. Shen explains the grim lore. They are a twisted fusion of human bodies and evil spirits created through forbidden experiments. While the assassin rages about moral decay, Sumu just deadpans that this whole ordeal was not even an appetizer. After a quick recovery check, the party ventures deeper into the dungeon, heading for the next level. They arrive at a massive circular stone dial, and Sumu announces this next test is all about luck. A closer look at the dial reveals carvings of various world-ending bosses, including demon lords and the infamous Apophis. This entire team collectively loses their minds, realizing the system is about to throw an impossible boss at them. This red-haired assassin is convinced they are about to fight Apophis, which he correctly identifies as a death sentence. Sumu, calm as ever, just tells everyone to toss one of their white purification flowers onto a small pedestal. After they make their offering, a system message registers the names of all the challengers for this deadly game show. This wheel of purification then begins to spin, randomly selecting which raid boss gets to annihilate them. In a beautiful moment of team unity, everyone starts praying for an easy fight and definitely not Apophis. This pointer slowly comes to a stop, landing on a symbol of a winged, angelic-looking figure, never a good sign. It is official. Their opponent is the evil demon lord Blackwing Golden Crow, and Sumu immediately questions his own luck. A blinding flash of light teleports them to the boss arena, giving them 180 seconds to prepare for the worst. They materialize in a volcanic wasteland, so hot one guy complains his shoes are literally melting. Another member then points out the source of the problem. There are 10 suns blazing in the sky. Before the boss even shows, they are greeted by a fresh army of spine beasts, and the team is already convinced they are doomed. Sumu calmly explains they just drew the most difficult boss, and the guild immediately decides to ban unlucky people from making offerings. Suddenly, one of the 10 suns in the sky launches a massive fireball right at the monster horde. This fiery blast absolutely incinerates the spine beasts, blowing them to smithereens in a massive explosion. In a single, overwhelming attack, the entire army of monsters is wiped off the map before the fight even starts. A voice booms from the sky, warning all mortals to leave this sacred ground or be reduced to ash. This team collectively panics, yelling that they'd love to leave but were kinda teleported here against their will. Sumu, however, just points at the sky and starts trash-talking the boss, challenging the little golden crow to come down and fight. This angers the celestial being, whose aura flares so hot it literally sets one of the guild members' hair on fire. A blinding, star-shaped light then descends from the heavens, crashing down right on top of the party. When the light fades, the boss is revealed, a winged, spear-wielding warrior woman surrounded by golden flames. Her stat sheet confirms she is the Black Feather Golden Crow, a demon lord with a ton of HP and a nasty burning attack. But the guys in the party completely ignore the demon lord part, immediately falling for her and calling her a goddess. She is not flattered by their drooling, calling them foolish mortals as she readies a devastating attack. With a powerful swing of her spear, she unleashes a massive, swirling vortex of fire at the team. This attack slams into the front line, and everyone caught in the blast starts taking heavy damage over time. They all start screaming as they are engulfed in flames that will not go out. Learning the burn doubles all incoming damage. This Emperor of War realizes this must be a nerfed version, and Sumu confirms the real one would have one-shot them all. Sumu orders everyone to scatter and attack, warning that anyone hit by her burning buff is as good as dead. But as their attacks land, they do practically zero damage, leaving the team wondering why they are suddenly so weak. Sumu, with a very serious meme face, lays down the law: no fireballs or flaming arrows against the fire boss. He then immediately blasts her with a fire spell himself, leaving his guild to ask if he is cheating. Our boy just smirks, hitting them with the classic "we are not the same" line, a true leader. This boss just flies out of reach, leaving the entire ground-based party to complain about unfair mechanics. From her safe little perch, she unleashes a golden flame storm because subtlety is overrated. This massive heatwave engulfs the entire team, slapping everyone with a nasty burn that ticks down their health. Declaring this is the only fate for mortals who challenge gods, she dives straight down for the kill. So Sumu orders all the mages to hit her with a frost spell to slow her down and boost their damage. A volley of ice shards pelts her mid-dive, and from the look on her face, she is deeply offended. Furious that a mortal dared to land a hit, she unleashes an even bigger firestorm to cleanse the area. This blast instantly cooks several party members who were apparently standing way too close together. One of the smarter members yells for everyone to spread out since the burn debuff makes them easy to wipe. She just tanks the incoming barrage with her shield, as a message warns them to watch for a specific HP threshold. Her health hits exactly 100,000, and she announces it is time to cleanse their sinful hearts with divine fire. Sumu suddenly screams for everyone to stop, then makes the weirdest request ever: "Give me the woman you like quickly." This pervier members of the guild immediately start daydreaming about their favorite models and teachers. Great priorities, guys. He then turns to a female guildmate, telling her to think of a man she likes, and if she is stumped, to just think of him. Meanwhile, the boss is still charging up her ultimate burning heart attack, ready to nuke the entire field. Suddenly, all the guys in the party start having their life force violently drained away by some invisible force. This triggers a traumatic vision for Sumu of a woman desperately shielding his younger self, begging for his life. This boss's attack plunges Sumu into a traumatic flashback, forcing him to relive the hatred from his parents' deaths. But he fights it by focusing on a different memory, a kind woman who once found him and asked if he was okay. In his past, he saw this woman as a literal angel who saved him from despair. Their simple connection was the one positive thing powerful enough to anchor him. She had promised to always be there for him, a memory that shatters the boss's mental attack. Back in the present, Sumu's eyes snap open, completely clear and focused. This Emperor of War is shocked he is fine, but Sumu just explains he thought of someone important. He then gets hilariously offended that the female guildmate thought of asterisk him, calling himself unattractive, priorities man. With the mental assault broken, the Emperor of War and another fighter charge forward to break her shield. Her ultimate attack still erupts across the field, making the other guild members scream in psychic pain. This red-haired assassin complains about the agony while the others tease him for pretending his good thoughts were not supermodels. This boss is having a full-blown meltdown, screaming that it is impossible for mortals to have broken her ultimate skill. And it is because the rest of the guys countered her trauma-inducing attack with some very not suitable for children thoughts. She is absolutely disgusted, calling them shameless rats for using their pervy daydreams to disrespect a god. Losing her cool completely, she unleashes a fiery explosion across the battlefield, shouting that all must die. She gloats about the vast difference between gods and ants, ready to wipe them from existence. But her victory speech is cut short when she looks down and realizes her legs are suddenly encased in ice. Sumu and his clone appear, coolly informing her that even gods become ant food when they fall to earth. With his clone mirroring him, he prepares a devastating fire and ice combo, declaring the battle is already over. Their combined assault absolutely hammers her, stacking up massive damage numbers and shattering her divine pride. Sumu's combo lands with insane damage numbers, shocking even his own guild with the new power. Fired up by the opening, the rest of the guild charges in, ready to dogpile the weakened boss. With her defenses shredded, she gets absolutely buried under a storm of critical ice attacks. Her weapons fall from her grasp as she collapses, completely unable to believe a mortal could defeat her. Even on her knees, she is still clinging to her pride, muttering about how she is a god. Denial is a hell of a drug. Sumu walks up and gives her the classic "you call yourself a god" speech, calling her out for her selfish packs. She just laughs maniacally, spitting that good and evil are meaningless and only power matters. Pointing a finger, she calls Sumu's own aura impure, saying he is just as damned as she is. But Sumu is not here for a debate, unleashing a strange, glowing crystal from his chest. This boss recognizes it as an Ice Phoenix spirit crystal, panicking as it flies right at her. It slams into her, and she starts screaming as her very essence is violently purified by the artifact. Leaning in with a terrifying grin, Sumu promises this is just the beginning of his god-slaying career. This crystal finishes its work, absorbing her completely, and Sumu just calmly says he is looking forward to it. Mu Shen watches this whole thing, realizing this boss fight was way too personal and wondering if Sumu is just built different. A system window confirms he just got a legendary item, the Ice Phoenix Spirit Crystal, which has now leveled up. With the boss officially dead, a notification announces they have cleared the level and are being teleported out. This team materializes before a massive demonic stone gate, realizing the final boss is just on the other side. As they watch, the gate's mouth cracks open, bathing them all in an ominous white light. Meanwhile, in the real world, a research team finds a massive ice phoenix statue that apparently moved on its own. While the lead scientist is wary, his gung-ho rescue leader insists they take it for humanity's sake. What could possibly go wrong? Back in the real world, a researcher sprints in, screaming that some idiot on the rescue team just unleashed an ancient centipede. While the scientists are having a full-blown meltdown, the rescue leader just smirks, clearly the one responsible for this mess. This team argues over the now-open container, with one guy suggesting they just go back into the monster-filled cave. When the lead scientist objects, the rescue leader just mocks his team for being cowards, a truly inspiring speech. So he rallies his own gung-ho squad to go catch some bugs, because what is a little prehistoric danger between bros? This scientist reluctantly tags along to keep them safe, playing right into the leader's manipulative plan. They head into the creepy ice cave, completely oblivious to the giant centipede leg lurking right beside them. This cavern is absolutely massive, making the entire expedition look like tiny specks in a frozen tomb. As they push forward, the scientist warns everyone that this is exactly where they found the hyperaggressive ancient creatures. But the rescue leader, Jaiwei, just scoffs and checks his revolver, confident he can shoot his way out of any problem. This scientist begs him not to fire his gun and cause a cave-in, which Jaiwei just dismisses as cowardice. Suddenly, his bravado evaporates as he spots something moving in the darkness ahead of them. He whips his gun around into the pitch-black void, demanding to know who is there. This scientist grabs his arm to stop him from shooting wildly, but Jaiwei is freaking out, yelling that they are not alone. Meanwhile, back in the game, Sumu's team arrives at a disgusting, fleshy altar, the source of all the reincarnation monsters. Everyone is thoroughly grossed out by the pulsating alien pods, with one guy asking what the hell they are even looking at. Sumu immediately takes charge, laying out the strategy for taking down this final, disgusting boss. His team moves into formation, with the ranged classes ready to plant the purification flowers on glowing pedestals. But before they can act, a monstrous clawed hand erupts from the main pod, shocking the entire party. And a massive, scaly beast tears its way out, revealing the true final boss of this nightmare level. This team recoils in shock as a massive shadow falls over them, heralding the final boss. This thing is a four-armed, scaly nightmare that just clawed its way out of a fleshy pod. Its stat sheet reveals it is an elite monster named Disaster with a ton of HP and immunity to all control. Everyone immediately panics over its insane stats, with Mu Shen admitting its defense is higher than his attack. Sumu, ever the leader, orders the assassin to find the last objective while the rest of them buy time. Their initial volley of spells barely scratches the beast, doing single-digit damage, not even a tickle. Disaster then unleashes a shadow smash, moving so fast it looks like there are three of them at once. With its insane speed, it effortlessly dodges every single attack thrown its way, making them look foolish. This boss proceeds to absolutely demolish the party, making everyone realize they are completely outmatched. But the assassin in Shen finally finds the last light beam and tosses the purification flower inside. His gambit pays off as the pillar of light erupts from the ground, activating the arena's mechanic. Sumu confirms the mechanism is active, seeing their only shot at winning is finally ready. These light beams converge on the monster, binding it in place and shredding its defense. Seeing his chance, Sumu orders a full-scale assault while the boss is vulnerable, leading the charge himself. This entire guild unloads everything they have, finally starting to see some real damage numbers pop up. Even a massive fire blast lands for thousands of damage, showing they have broken through its armor. But Sumu quickly realizes their combined firepower still is not enough to burn it down in time. A look at its health bar confirms the worst. They have barely made a dent in its massive HP pool. Getting desperate, he screams for everyone to push harder, knowing this is their only window. And just like that, the restraints shatter, the boss is free, and Sumu yells for the melee fighters to fall back. This boss shatters the restraints and buffs its defense because this fight was not hard enough already. It immediately grabs some poor schmuck, who learns firsthand what being a raid boss's chew toy feels like. And judging by the shadow and the splatter, that guy's raid is officially over. Sumu jumps back into action, ordering a new strategy to kite the beast until the next mechanic pops. His fire spell lands for a whopping 21 damage, which probably just made the boss itchy. Even the archer's explosive arrows are doing single-digit damage, basically just annoying it. A heavy sword charge connects for a pathetic 19 points. This is just embarrassing for everyone involved. Without the binding light, their attacks are literally just tickling this absolute unit of a monster. To make matters worse, the damn thing starts regenerating its health just to rub salt in the wound. Suddenly, the light beams are back, and the assassin screams for everyone to plant the flowers now. With the boss restrained again, Sumu orders a full-on assault, desperately trying to make some progress. He grimly accepts that this is going to be a long, painful battle of endurance. Meanwhile, outside the instance, a lone figure waits in a snowy forest, noting it has been an hour and a half. A rival guild has arrived, led by a guy named Mozifa, who is shocked to hear who is on Sumu's team. His lackey suggests they follow, figuring there must be some amazing loot inside. But Mozifa shuts him down with a death glare, asking if he is trying to give him orders. Yikes. This guy is fuming that a low-level nobody like Mu Shen recruited 2 guild presidents. With a smug grin, he decides he will wait for them to come out and thank them for their hard work. He sneers that Mu Shen's luck has to run out sometime, clearly planning to jump them for their loot. 1 hour later inside, Sumu's team has whittled the boss to half health, surviving 9 rounds of this nightmare. Mu Shen is panicking because even after 9 rounds, their damage is trash and they are about to get wiped. Meanwhile, the boss flexes its insane health bar, basically mocking them for even trying to play this game. For the 10th time, the team desperately rushes to plant the last flower, with Mu Shen yelling this is their final chance. But disaster just unleashes a massive shockwave, sending the entire raid team flying across the room. A close-up on a guildmate's face confirms the worst. The boss just popped its ultimate move. It is an unavoidable soul drain, a party-wide stun that freezes everyone in their tracks. As their life force drains, the red-haired assassin just casually announces he is checking out first. What a team player. Mu Shen accepts their fate, realizing the whole team was just annihilated and all their effort was for nothing. But then a spirit version of his female guildmate appears, telling him not to give up and that they can try again. He confesses he knew they'd fail all along, but she reassures him the guild trusts his leadership completely. With a warm smile, she reminds him not to carry the burden alone because they are all friends. This hits Mu Shen hard, making him realize he only recruited everyone as useful tools for his own goals. Having forgotten what friendship even means, his eyes glow with a new determination. He cannot lose them now. Back in the real fight, the team is still frozen solid, completely at the boss's mercy, and Disaster wastes no time, grabbing one of the soul-drained players like a little action toy. It lifts the poor guy to its mouth, ready for a mid-battle snack. Talk about a bad day. This boss's eye glows menacingly as it prepares to devour its helpless victim. But suddenly, a glowing blue egg materializes out of nowhere, stopping the attack cold. A system window announces Frost Nirvana activated, as the mysterious egg cracks with immense power, and bursting from the shell is Sumu, reborn in a blast of ice and ready to turn this whole fight around. Sumu, now glowing with icy power, announces he is finally ready to unleash his full divine arsenal. Disaster just glares back with pure rage, clearly not impressed by the light show. As the beast swings wildly, Sumu casually taunts it, saying its anxiety will only speed up its death. He then psychically tells his team he will hold the line while they go activate the final mechanism. With the boss distracted by Sumu's clone, Mu Shen makes a break for the last purification flower. Suddenly, a volley of glowing blue blades fills the air, homing in on their target, and they slam into Disaster, binding it in place and buffing the team's magic attack by 100%. This fire mage immediately capitalizes, blasting the boss for thousands of damage points. A relentless storm of fire engulfs the monster, finally chunking its massive health bar. Then some new guy with sunglasses shows up, summoning an ice spear like he owns the place. He leaps into the air, dedicating his attack to someone named Wanner before striking a heavy blow. Not to be outdone, Sumu crosses his arms, preparing his own dramatic finishing move. He unleashes a massive ice scythe, declaring this one is for the dark god, a little personal maybe. This sunglasses guy then switches to a fire sword, smugly showing off his senior wizard skills. With a final cry to kill God, he plunges the fiery blade deep into the monster's chest. Sumu finishes the job, calling down a meteor shower and yelling for the boss to pay its debts. This kill is confirmed, and our boy celebrates with a finger heart, calling his magic show over. After all that chaos, he just gently floats back down to the ground, not a hair out of place. But then a mysterious blue spirit appears, and Sumu freaks out, realizing this was not in the script. This spirit, Yumi, reveals it was drawn out by the evil spirit inside Sumu, who now wonders if his secret is out. This blue spirit, Yumi, casually asks Sumu why he is in such a rush to get rid of it. Talk about a clingy ghost. It then goes full cryptic NPC mode, telling Sumu to find his own answers in a place called Winter City. As the spirit fades, Sumu is left wondering if some god-tier being is pulling all the strings from behind the scenes. He realizes his entire reborn life has been one giant question mark, and now he is determined to find some answers. Meanwhile, the rest of the team gets a surprise resurrection, completely baffled as to how they won a fight they definitely lost. They all immediately start praising Mu Shen, convinced he single-handedly clutched the victory because he was the last one standing. This assassin is literally crying and hugging Mu Shen's leg, who looks like he'd rather be anywhere else right now. Sumu pulls Mu Shen aside, basically telling him to just shut up about the weird win and get ready to collect the loot. This system announces their clear time was almost 3 hours, with a pretty solid mix of scores for each stage. But when the personal ratings drop, everyone gets A's and B's while Mu Shen somehow scores a legendary SSS rank. Our boy's ego immediately inflates, thinking he must be the secret MVP who carried the entire raid on his back. And the SSS rewards are just insane, tons of gold, exp, and a super rare cross-class skill learning opportunity. He is struggling to keep a straight face, knowing this is a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot that just fell into his lap. One of the guildies is already dreaming about how high reputation gets you closer to NPC girls, a true man of culture. Back in the snowy forest, Mu Shen dismisses the team to rest, but the assassin seems to sense something is wrong. Her passive detection skill confirms it. A radar lights up with red dots, showing they are completely surrounded, and right on cue, dozens of archers appear on the ridge above them, knocking elemental arrows. Mu Shen immediately barks orders for the warriors to form a shield wall and brace for the incoming attack. This volley slams into their defenses for heavy damage, as his team rages about getting jumped by cowards. Peeking from behind a tree, the core group spots enemy mages advancing, turning to Mu Shen for a plan. Mu Shen immediately barks out a complex battle plan, sending assassins to the mages and warriors to the archers. With a roar, the warriors charge forward to pin down the enemy's front line, creating an opening, while Mu Shen leads his elite strike team on a flanking run to decapitate the enemy command. This rival leader, Mozifa, just scoffs at the tiny group, thinking Mu Shen is an arrogant fool. He immediately orders his mages to obliterate the squad and steal all their hard-earned loot. But Mu Shen just leaps into the air, intentionally drawing every single spell towards himself, which makes Mozifa cackle, calling him an idiot for turning himself into a giant floating target. Too bad for him, our boy was just getting into position to cast a little something called Heavenly Fire. A massive firestorm erupts from the ground, completely incinerating the enemy's backline in an instant. Mozifa's jaw hits the floor as he realizes that is definitely not a standard issue mage ability. His forces are thrown into total chaos, getting picked off by the assassin amidst the fiery confusion. Furious, he deduces Mu Shen must have a hidden skill and orders his remaining troops to focus him down. An enemy assassin sees an opening and lunges at Mu Shen's back for a quick kill, but the blonde warrior intercepts the blade with his bare hand, taking the hit for his leader. This team's healer immediately patches him up, reminding him they are a proper squad now. Meanwhile, the rest of the ambushers are getting absolutely rooted, screaming about the terrifying damage output. Their counterattack is a mess, realizing this is not a fight anymore, it is just a slaughter. Mozifa's grand ambush is completely shattered, leaving him with two terrified lackeys begging to retreat. He tries to slip away, but the red-haired assassin is already behind him, blade to his throat, asking if he is too handsome to kill. And after a brief savage evaluation, the answer is no, he is not handsome at all, death penalty it is. This assassin finishes the job with a clean slice, sending Mozifa into a final, pathetic scream. His lackeys have already bylaid, leaving their boss to hyperventilate about his very permanent death penalty. Mu Shen's crew strolls up, and he casually asks to heal the guy just so he can repeat his threats louder. This suggestion of being killed and then revived just to be tortured breaks Mozifa's brain completely. Meanwhile, in a completely different snowy area, a lone beast prowls through the woods of Fengaming Road. It is a level 20 snow tiger, looking all kinds of menacing with its glowing red eyes and giant fangs, and it immediately gets one-shotted by a massive critical hit for nearly 4,600 damage, poor thing. Perched in a tree, a new red-haired girl with a glowing dagger dryly notes that must have stung. She is more concerned with reaching Winter City, hearing there is a huge reward for the first SSS-level players to arrive. Her subordinate reports their team is rested and ready to move out on her command. Back with Mu Shen's group, he is laying out the plan to race to the main city for a competitive edge. With the strategy set, he dismisses everyone to rest up for an early start the next morning. Alone, Mu Shen checks his stats, realizing he has enough banked X to jump straight to level 15. But he is eyeing his Hand of Death skill, a broken ability that doubles all damage but costs a fortune to upgrade. He finally pulls the trigger, dumping a whopping 5 million experience points to level up the skill. This upgrade unleashes a massive vortex of energy, making him wonder if the Grim Reaper is involved again. This energy blast manifests as a sudden, violent snowstorm that blinds another party of players nearby. They are panicking because this blizzard hits right as they are about to enter the difficult 4th stage. Elsewhere, another group huddles by a fire with two guys complaining about their uncooperative big sister. But their leader, a sharp-eyed warrior, senses this is not just a random storm, something is definitely wrong. This warrior leader warns her squad about two legendary monsters that only spawn after a snowstorm. Her teammates are immediately terrified, knowing that adding these beasts to the mix is a horrible idea. Worse, the two monsters are natural enemies and their epic brawls are a nightmare for any players nearby. Back with Mu Shen, he is checking his upgraded skill. More damage is nice, but the use with caution tag is a bit concerning. Then he cracks open his SSS rank treasure box and gets an absolutely insane loot drop, gold, exp skills, the works. Our boy is practically in tears, realizing he has the divine materials needed to finally upgrade his legendary gear. With his remaining exp, he hits level 14, breaking 1000 magic attack before logging off to rest. In a trashed-out office somewhere else, a man passive-aggressively reminds his secretary how well he has treated her. This is Su Yufeng, leader of the Madman Club, and he is completely broke after his team got annihilated by Mu Shen's group. His secretary, Charlene, whispers a plan to attend a party and cozy up to a more powerful guild for a merger. Cut to a wild KTV party, the perfect backdrop for some desperate, high-stakes networking. At a VIP table, some CEO is already roasting Su Yufeng about getting his guild wiped by Mu Shen. This CEO smug associate lays it on thick, saying Su's guild is pathetic and now has to beg for their help. So Charlene immediately turns on the charm, playing the damsel in distress now that her guild is about to disband. This new guy is loving it, kicking everyone else out so he can have some private time with his new acquaintance. And Su Yufeng just walks off, totally confident his secretary can seal the deal. What a great boss. Meanwhile, in a completely different setting, someone is getting a serious workout with some heavy dumbbells. It is Sumu, looking absolutely ripped after his training session as he casually checks his phone. He pulls up a news alert about a scientific expedition getting buried by an avalanche in the mountains. But one name on the victim list, Su Tianyang, sends him into a panic. An old friend is in mortal danger. Sumu's panic spikes. His parents were in that avalanche, a detail that never happened in his first life. He connects the dots, realizing the game's lore is bleeding into reality way ahead of schedule. On the phone, his parents casually say they are fine and the avalanche was no big deal, but some things cannot be said online. His mom immediately starts babying him, which reduces our stoic hero to a flustered chibai. After hanging up, he is just relieved they are safe, even if his mom's brain operates on a different planet. Meanwhile, his dad reveals the avalanche was actually a government cover-up for a massive discovery. Inside a secret passage, they have found an entire chamber of mysterious, frozen humanoid figures. Back home, Sumu is just about to sleep when a late-night text buzzes his phone. It is from Jiang Jiyu, and he is immediately suspicious of her motives for messaging him so late. She asks to join him in the main city and shows him a picture of a strange item she found, a map fragment. And it is the exact piece that fits with his own, revealing part of a legendary treasure map. His mind races with the possibilities. This map leads to the tomb of an evil demon full of legendary loot. He tries to play it cool, texting that it is useless, but immediately realizes she has seen right through his terrible bluff. This kid is sweating, finding this social minefield way harder than any boss fight. He is caught in a bind. To get the map, he has to meet her, which risks exposing his in-game identity. After some smooth talking, he sets up a meeting, then privately laments the heavy burden of being so handsome. What a guy elsewhere, Jiang Jiu smirks at her phone, revealing she already knows his in-game name is Mu Shen. She wonders why he has been so secretive with his knowledge of the future, confirming she is onto his whole reborn shtick. Her reflection shows another woman as she wonders if she is not as pretty, a hint of insecurity and maybe a rival. This next morning in game, Mu Shen's team is hyping him up for hitting level 14, totally oblivious to all the real-world drama. His crew immediately starts trolling him, suggesting a death match since he is so op now, and Mu Shen is not amused. Then a system-wide alert drops, announcing that random snowstorm just woke up 3 legendary wild monsters. While his team panics, Mu Shen is secretly thrilled since he needs to kill 2 of them to upgrade his broken skill. Meanwhile, that other warrior leader and her squad are stuck right in the middle of the new monster battle zone. Her teammates are stressing because the path to the main city is so brutal it is literally called account-destroying city. But their leader gives a big speech, rallying the Green Python squad to push forward no matter what. With no assassin to scout, she warns them to be careful as they venture into the blizzard-swept plains, and right on cue, a massive ice phoenix dives out of the sky, forcing them to scatter immediately. This squad forms up to fight the level 30 elite, with their archer taking point on damage. Just as they engage the phoenix, the ground starts to tremble and something else is coming up from below. A giant frost dragon bursts from the snow, sending their leader flying like a ragdoll. Talk about bad timing. These 2 legendary beasts completely ignore the players, squaring up for their fated grudge match. Their epic clash begins with the warrior leader still trapped right in the middle of the chaos. She barely scrambles out of the way, screaming at the kaiju-sized monsters to take their fight elsewhere. After making it back to her team, she quickly checks to see if everyone is still in one piece. Realizing they are just collateral damage, she orders everyone to fall back and let the monsters finish their brawl. Their escape route, however, is now blocked by an entire army of frost dragons rising from the ice. To make matters worse, a whole flock of ice phoenixes descends from the sky, completely surrounding them. These 2 monster armies unleash a storm of attacks, catching the tiny squad in a deadly crossfire. It is an all-out war between ice birds and ice dragons, and the players are just spectators with terrible seats. This warrior leader's squadmate gets absolutely blasted by a stray attack, taking a huge chunk of damage. His team is completely surrounded and panicking, convinced this is a total party wipe. But just as they give up hope, a massive golden light erupts and they wonder who just intervened. A massive firestorm suddenly rains down, torching the entire monster army for thousands of damage a pop. Turns out it is Mu Shen's crew, who are just farming the chaos for a massive payday. This once terrifying armies of dragons and phoenixes are getting completely annihilated in seconds. Staring at the fiery silhouette, the warrior leader realizes this is the work of one ridiculously op squad. And then it hits them. It is Mu Shen, the legendary player who has been dominating the server from day one. She thanks him for the save, while Mu Shen privately recalls her squad was also famous in his past life. Seeing her chance, the leader immediately asks if her whole team can join his guild. Talk about shooting your shot. Mu Shen tries to play it cool, but his assassin is already rolling out the welcome mat for their new family. And just like that, 5 new members are welcomed into the Valley of the Gods via system spam. With his new, bigger crew, Mu Shen announces he has got the monster parts he needed and rallies them to push on. 3 days later, the massive party finally reaches the 5th stage, hyped to enter Winterfell City at last. They arrive at a beautiful but treacherous frozen lake called Broken Sky, the final hurdle before their goal. Mu Shen checks his quest log, noting he still has a major trial to complete before he is done here. System alerts pop up, warning of a deadly monster in the lake that will insta-kill anyone who falls in. His healer asks if he knows the trick to crossing, and he smugly confirms only he knows the way forward. Meanwhile, another guild, the Black Dragon Hall, is watching Mu Shen's group from a distance, clearly planning something. They are using a stealth charm to stay hidden, with one member warning her leader to keep an eye on the timer. This Black Dragon Hall guild is sure Mu Shen's team will get wiped, but their leader tells them to watch closely. Back on the ice, Mu Shen gives his crew the simple rules: follow him exactly or die. His red-haired teammate immediately tries to follow the complex steps, looking like he is doing interpretive dance, and he has already forgotten the instructions, resorting to some deep thoughts while picking his nose. This rest of the team is a mix of confidence and the red-haired guy begging not to be left behind. With Mu Shen leading the way, the whole party hops across the ice floes like a well-oiled machine. But just as they are about to make it, the same red-haired guy spots a suspicious flash of light. It is an ambush. A tank from the new squad throws up a shield just in time to block a projectile. His shield shatters and he still takes over 700 damage from an attacker screaming, "Kill God." This force of the blow knocks him onto a glowing red ice tile, which is never a good sign. That single misstep triggers the entire lake, sending the whole party scrambling as the ice breaks apart. Mu Shen is livid, realizing the attacker used a stealth rune that even his assassin could not detect. And from the now turbulent water, something absolutely massive starts to emerge. A level 35 three-headed ice hydra bursts from the lake, confirming this day has gone completely sideways. All three heads immediately start charging up a breath attack, ready for a party wipe. They unleash a gigantic vortex of ice energy straight at the scattered players. One of the new guild members gets caught right in the beam, screaming for his boss. At the resurrection point, the Black Dragon Hall members whine about getting wiped, wondering who did this. Mu Shen calls out their hidden saboteur, knowing they are trying to steal the first clear reward, and the red-haired girl from the rival guild appears, casually admitting she has been caught. She smugly introduces herself and her guild, the Black Dragon Hall, acting like they own the place. Mu Shen immediately recognizes the name. In his past life, this guild was infamous for its brutal, elite players. While his team is visibly nervous, our boy is already calculating, confident he can find a weakness. This rival leader gets all condescending, demanding an apology just because he has been successful. Then she thanks him for the free escort, revealing she has memorized the path and plans to just kill them now. Oh, that does it. Mu Shen's entire crew draws their weapons, ready to throw down for their boss. This Black Dragon Hall squares up too, with some absolute unit of a guy ready to bring down a giant hammer. But their leader pauses, realizing a huge brawl here is a bad idea with other teams and that Hydra lurking. So she steps forward with a different idea to settle this whole mess, a one-on-one duel. She challenges Mu Shen directly, promising to apologize if he wins, and his team is all for it. Mu Shen does not waste a second on talk, immediately launching a massive fireball right at her. But she is just as quick, firing a glowing pink arrow that collides with his spell in a huge explosion. Her sniper shot actually punches right through his fireball, a nasty skill with 5x damage and a high crit rate. With his health already low, Mu Shen makes a tactical retreat behind a tree to chug a potion. This archer just smirks, charging up another shot and taunting that there is nowhere for him to hide. A countdown begins as she takes aim, and Mu Shen peeks out looking for any possible opening. He ducks back just in time as the deadly arrow zips right past his head, barely missing him. His team is having a collective heart attack, realizing that one hit would have been an instant KO. Her guildmates, however, are just laughing, revealing that her arrow is not just a simple projectile. And Mu Shen looks up in horror, realizing the arrow's energy is still active and it is coming back for him. This arrow suddenly splits into 3 homing projectiles, and Mu Shen is completely caught off guard. Turns out her heartbreak skill is a guaranteed triple hit that also freezes you. Basically, you are dead. But our boy pulls out a clone at the last second, using it as a psychic meat shield to tank all 3 hits. That was a close call, but in that moment he has already figured out her biggest weakness. She just laughs it off, taunting him about his clone trick while charging up another one of those killer arrows. Instead of hiding again, Mu Shen bolts straight out of cover, closing the distance between them. This catches her by surprise. She realizes he is exploiting the long charge time on her one-shot kill move. She is still cocky though, claiming even a partially charged shot is enough to finish his tiny bit of health. But just as she is about to fire, a blinding light erupts from above, completely dazzling her. And Mu Shen just smirks, having perfectly timed the interruption with his own skill. Then he unleashes a mountain shaking strike, a warrior move that sends her flying, and her guild is losing it. He looks so smug about it, revealing he got a cross-class skill from a previous SSS rank clear. Even while getting launched, she yells that the second half of her arrow is still coming for his real body. At that moment, his clone pops up right in her face midair, blocking her path completely. Before she can even react, the clone grabs her from behind, trapping her in its grip. Then the real Mu Shen swoops in, grabbing her and positioning her right in front of him. Oh my god, he is using her as a human shield against her own homing arrows. That is just cold-blooded. With her health down to single digits, he tells her to apologize, but she is just calling him a hooligan. He is not having it though, raising his hand for a slap while demanding that apology. Her guild is absolutely raging while his crew is just cheering on their boss's totally unhinged victory lap. Since she refuses to apologize, Mu Shen just straight up spanks her, a bold move to say the least. He follows through with the slap, which is just so much to unpack right now. This all happens in front of both guilds, dealing a whopping 1 point of emotional damage. She starts bawling that even her dad never hit her, while Mu Shen threatens to do it again unless she apologizes. Her guildmates are absolutely losing their minds, ready to jump him for the crime of bullying their goddess. Finally breaking, she agrees to apologize to his entire team just to make the humiliation stop. Meanwhile, his own crew is joking that they want the boss to discipline them too, and the healer is just done. Her teammate tries to comfort her, but she is just mortified and wants everyone to drop it immediately. Mu Shen offers a truce, saying they can all cross the lake together since he is such a reasonable guy. She agrees to the temporary peace but demands a proper rematch in 3 days to settle the score for real. They set the stakes: if she loses, she is his maid for a month. If he loses, he joins her guild. With the drama settled for now, the combined party finally enters the magnificent Winter City. This city guards actually salute them on arrival, a nice little perk of Mu Shen's sky-high reputation score. System alerts go wild, showering Mu Shen with tons of rewards for being the first player to reach the SSS-level city. He dismisses his crew, telling them to go handle their job changes while he checks out the new content. A system message hints at a larger world progression, with this city being just the first major step. One of his rewards is a quick job transfer scroll, letting him bypass all the boring prerequisite quests. Using the scroll, he is immediately presented with 3 advanced mage classes to choose from. He smirks, revealing he is picking the one class he could never afford to properly build in his past life, and with a flash of light, he becomes a talisman master, getting a major upgrade to all his basic skills. His new class revolves around the 5 elements skill, a complex system of rotating talismans for different effects. He also gets a bunch of new high-level skills, which the system warns require perfect timing to master. One of them is a group attack that can trigger a temporary god mode with invincibility and a massive crit boost. Another lets him teleport up to 4 times while dealing damage, basically making him an untouchable machine. Wasting no time, Mu Shen immediately uses an enhancement scroll to upgrade his main talisman to +10 purple quality. His magic attack stat is now over 1200, which is literally double what a normal mage has at this level. Now fully upgraded, he strolls through Winter City, pondering his next move and a mystery from his past. He spots the city's reputation merchant, a massive Viking-looking dude, and gives a polite little wave. This merchant just gives him a look, asking what he wants while puffing on his pipe, clearly not impressed. Mu Shen tries to cash in his reputation, but the guy just laughs, saying his rep is worthless for any real rewards. This merchant offers him 3 identical dangerous quests, so Mu Shen just shrugs and picks the first one. But the old man stops him, saying those are too easy, and triggers a special intimate task just for him. He's given a strange jade artifact and a new quest: find a woman named Auguste in the north of the city. Holding the jade, Mu Shen tries to place the name, feeling a weird sense of dread creeping in. And then it hits him, a full-blown flashback to the terror of Auguste, an NPC who was a player slaughtering bug in his past life. Completely panicked, he asks the merchant if he can possibly, pretty please cancel the quest. Walking away defeated, he calls the old man a ripoff, who just cryptically says secrets are hard to find. Mu Shen starts wondering if this merchant is even an NPC, realizing his rebirth is revealing all sorts of weirdness. His destination is a massive, foreboding ice castle, looking every bit as cheerful as his new quest feels. To clear his head, he visits the blacksmith for a simple fetch quest, anything to avoid thinking about his impending doom. Thanks to all the players, the entire server gets a progress boost, unlocking new rankings and game modes. And on the new leaderboards, some dude named C.I. Tian is suddenly #1 in both strength and gear. This world chat immediately loses its collective mind over his +15 legendary weapon, something nobody thought was possible. One rival player is having a complete public meltdown, crying that it is unfair, and he even reported the guy for cheating. But his saltiness quickly turns to smugness, thinking the top player is just a bigger target while he stays hidden. Meanwhile, Mu Shen's guild is buzzing about their new job classes after reaching Winter City. Mu Shen just silently roasts his teammate for picking a class purely based on how cool it looked. He then lays down the plan for a big survival challenge in 2 days, telling everyone to get ready. With guild business done, he takes a quiet moment to admire the moon over the city he fought so hard to reach. Suddenly, we cut to a secret research base where a traitor was just arrested for industrial espionage. This guy apparently tried to sell a priceless ancient centipede to an enemy nation, and the lead researcher is furious. His younger colleagues are just disgusted, saying jail time is way too light for a crime motivated by pure greed. This old man reveals just how high the stakes are, claiming other countries were offering 100 million for a sample. Despite all this, their research on the massive biological specimen in the tank has completely stalled. This ancient centipede is a biological nightmare, insanely tough, super resilient, and practically immortal. This female researcher gets a weird feeling about some ice sculptures in storage, so they decide to go investigate. What they find is a horror show, a room full of people frozen mid-scream around a giant ice phoenix statue. Upon inspection, the old researcher is horrified to find that one of the frozen bodies is completely hollow inside. His assistant voices a terrifying theory that these hollow bodies are actually hosts for the ancient centipedes. He turns to her, but she is just staring blankly into space, completely unresponsive as he calls her name. This lead researcher just stares, completely horrified as his assistant becomes an empty shell right before his eyes. Before he can even react, the giant ice phoenix statue flares to life and the frozen bodies around it start to move. Meanwhile, Mu Shen's coping mechanism for his impending death quest is a whole lot of skewers. His existential crisis is interrupted by a random girl he has absolutely no memory of. She has to remind him they met at a tournament and he is just like, "Oh, right you." She tries to pull a fast one about treating him to a meal, but our boy's memory is too good for that scam. After chugging a drink, she finally gets to the point and asks if he is on her game's server. Her grand plan was to invite him to a hidden map, but it all falls apart when she learns he is on the wrong server. But the words hidden map entrance get his full attention, skewers and all. She mentions the Qing Emperor's secret realm, and of course our regressor knows exactly what she is talking about. A quick check on the forums confirms it. A new hidden dungeon is open, and he needs to get his crew ready. He drops the dungeon plans in the guild chat, and of course the rich guy complains about waking up before noon. This rich guy keeps whining about his beauty sleep, so Mu Shen just boots him from the group. Problem solved. Next day, the team gathers in Winter City, and the recently kicked rich guy is back, now claiming he'd never miss a boss for a girl. One of his teammates proudly shows off his new class and +10 sword, chosen purely for the cool light effects. Their healer, on the other hand, has become a doctor of light, promising to be even more useful in fights. Their blonde knight is still thinking about his job change, and Mu Shen is curious if he will deviate from the original timeline. Elsewhere, other top players are strategizing, knowing the Black Dragon Hall plans to consolidate power in Winter City. This focus then shifts to the majestic teleportation tower, the gateway to other regions. And the teleporter is a cute little fairy who happily offers to send you to the world of Apocalypse for a mere 50 gold. What a deal. This teleporter fairy says the city is so packed there's a 2-hour wait since every streamer is there. But for the low price of 5,000 gold per person, she can offer a secret way to skip the line. Mu Shen immediately volunteers the rich guy to pay for everyone's express pass, much to his shock. After that quick transaction, the crew arrives in the massive A-level Qingjiang city, and it is absolutely packed. It seems the entire server is here for the secret realm, including their old rivals from the Black Dragon Hall. And look who it is, the girl he humiliated is here with her guild, now rocking a new stringer class. He just smirks, knowing her new class is a hard counter for mages, but he is not exactly a normal mage anymore. She immediately sends a friend request and a private message, already trash-talking about their upcoming rematch. They arrive at the swirling portal, and Mu Shen remembers clearing this exact dungeon in his past life with a guide. Stepping through the vortex, they are officially welcomed into the ominous Qing Emperor ruins. This landscape is insane, a desolate wasteland with a petrified giant impaled by a sword the size of a mountain. His team is just staring in awe at the mountains, but Mu Shen has to break it to them, that is no mountain. Turns out this giant was a god-slayer who got one-shotted by some cosmic entity and left here to petrify. With the grim history lesson over, Mu Shen just points at the giant sword, ready to start the dungeon crawl. Their destination is the hilt of that massive sword, and the red-haired guy is already freaking out about how dangerous it looks. All the other player groups in the area start making their way across the barren plains toward the sword. Suddenly, the red-haired dude gets smacked on the head by something he cannot see, and the healer is not impressed. A monster stat block pops up for a White Walker, which is apparently immune to all physical and spell damage. Great. His teammate calls out the monster's name, but the red-haired guy thinks it is a joke since he cannot see a thing. Then he gets hit again for actual damage, finally realizing this is a serious problem and asking for a plan. Mu Shen whips out his new fire talismans, showing the invisible monsters he is not playing around. This creates a protective fire ring, but they are still trapped and surrounded by unseen enemies.